Welcome, one and all, to the Minds of the Ecclesia panel. I am your host, Lethe Water Kai, and today we're about to have the brawl to end them all. We have some of the strongest faces of the Republican/conservative sphere here to have a discussion on who's really real. And I'm going to go ahead and give some introductions, starting with Admiral Gibbs.
Howdy, I'm Admiral Gibbs. I am a strong Texas conservative. I believe strongly in individual liberty, capitalism, whooping other countries' asses and taking their shit, and
Thank you for
being
the
the
raid,
best
Wick.
goddamn American that you can be. And listen, if you believe in the government having a contract with its people, then you have to be a conservative because the current Democratic Party is evil and they have broken that contract. And if you support them in any manner, you can't call yourself a conservative, nor can you call yourself a Republican. Thank you.
Right. And the man who needs no introduction whatsoever, but he's going to get one, Counterpoints.
Yeah, hi, my name's Connor. I run a YouTube channel named Counterpoints 40K, Counterfire, and Counterpoints. One of them is for science fiction breakdowns. The other one is for debates such as this. And then the third one is a essay channel where I post my own ideas. Okay, so this is my frustration with Admiral Gibbs. I might say some very mean things tonight. He says like 60% based things, right? And then 30% of the most cringe shit I've ever heard in my life, to the point that I want to punch myself in the ball sack. So I'll save it for the open, but conservatism has nothing to do with dick sucking some random candidate. It has everything to do with a philosophy that is rooted at minimum in 300 years of political intellectual thought. And if you want to talk about it, probably 2,000 or 3,000 years of history. So if you don't understand that history and you don't understand that philosophy, you have no business labeling anybody anything at all.
Thank you. And with us for the first time, Jugtan.
Yeah, so I mean, I am a conservative and I'm fighting for the definition of conservatism that, could exist before Donald Trump, because it seems like everybody now says that you can't be a conservative unless you support Donald Trump, who wasn't a candidate 8 years ago. So I don't know why that's the requirement. So I think that I'm going to focus on principle. And as far as principle goes, I think conservatism is about conserving the power and funds of the government. People often use a misnomer of conservatism, meaning it is meant to conserve what already exists or what already existed. Like we're just all picking a period of time that we liked best and saying, go back to that. And that's not the case. I think it's about the conservative or liberal application of government power and government funds. It seems to be what practically conservatism has always meant. And as far as the argument we're probably going to have as to whether or not Trump falls under that, unequivocally, he doesn't. He does not believe in conserving the power of the government. He believes in using it when it serves him and then reducing it where it doesn't serve him. And he doesn't seem to care about individual liberty either. So in terms of passing more gun regulation than Obama and Trump combined, or Obama and Biden combined. So we'll see how it goes, but that's where I stand.
Awesome. And with us, Lactoid.
Yeah, so purity checking is super common among libertarians. I'll tell you that. Anytime you go to a libertarian convention, everyone's going to be telling each other, you're not a real libertarian, you're a statist. No, hey, I'm in favor of seatbelts. Or I think it was driver's licenses that Gary Johnson said, and he got booed. And some people there described him as not a real libertarian because he was in favor of driver's licenses. So I'm already pretty predisposed to dislike purity testing. I think ultimately these political identities don't really matter. They're more of just a heuristic to be able to more easily explain yourself in public or to somebody you just met. Hey, I'm generally this, and here's why. Right now, what I will say though is I think that regardless of what you call yourself, the kind of caveat here is I do think that there's potentially an issue if you have somebody who describes himself as a conservative and will sort of kind of parrot the conservative beliefs, mainstream kind of within the Overton window beliefs, but be acting in favor of a different political party. At that point, that's like the one such scenario with that it's, I think, genuinely difficult for me to evaluate. Like, is this person, in a practicality wise, in effect, they're not a conservative in the sense as they are opposing their own values. they could still hold those values, right? They could still find it important to be a conservative, but something else could be so important to them that it overrides those conservative values to make them oppose conservatism and maybe support, something crazy like progressivism. The two things that I think could compel somebody to do that are, if you sufficiently, hate somebody enough to like say F you, which I think is a factor here for a lot of people who hate Trump but call themselves conservatives, or a sufficient amount of money has exchanged hands to where now they feel comfortable saying that they, are in favor of more progressive institutions. So that's kind of my thoughts on what's happening here. But whether or not somebody's a real conservative, again, kind of feels like the argument over what's a real Scotsman. I don't know.
Right. And here to set us straight, Rob Noor.
So probably bad person for this panel. I'm going to give two overviews, right? The first overview, I'm going to say this once. We're men. We're supposedly right-wingers. I'm going to talk shit this whole panel, and I assume everyone can handle it. Right? Good? No crying, no tears. We good? No fecal
no
shit.
crying in baseball. No crying
Pronoun.
in baseball.
Connor's rolling up the non-existent sleeves. Connor's doing this right now.
That's my
I was
goal.
taking off the non-existent gloves.
Right. So I'm going to make this as shitty as possible. So to answer the question, I don't know what the specific topic is. The original one was like, what is a Republican and what's a conservative? First question's stupid. What's a Republican to me? Because it's like, I guess whoever's running the party at that point. I don't get, and I think there's a solid argument to be had that I am not a Republican at all, because I think the Republican Party is more represented by Mitt Romney than Donald Trump. The establishment Republican Party sucks ass. I want nothing to do with them. I say that as someone who ran as a Republican for Congress, who's donated to Republicans, who's volunteered to help Republicans, but I consider myself a libertarian adjacent populist conservative. That's what I would call myself. More libertarian and more populist, actually more populist than libertarian than conservative. As far as what is conservative means, I'll just say real quick. To me, it means like conserving sort of a way of government that makes sure that the government conserves their power. It's sort of the definition of the Jeb Tan game. I'll go a little further. To me, what that means in specifics is something like the government should be very limited when it comes to spending, to collecting tax revenues, fiscal conservatives, what we call them. And when it comes to social policy, it should try to be embracing some sort of values that sort of were the values that the people that created this country sort of represented. So there are issues that maybe I have loggerheads with conservatives, like something like gay marriage or something. I can understand how that would be considered conservative to be against gay marriage, because it would be against those values. Now, let's talk about the people that are on this panel real quick. First, we have Progressive Victory Points up top. Now, my argument for him will quite simply be, I don't know how you could call yourself a conservative and work and get paid by a group called Progressive Victory PAC in order to help Democrats, one, become more progressive, which is the complete antithesis of conservatism, and second, to help Democrats win, including down ballot. Just not liking Donald Trump doesn't justify that, and that's why I think that he won't meet the definition of conservative in that sense, unless he did it for the money, which we'll talk about. Tiberius D, an apt name, because he is certainly D level. Pretty sad that the anti-Trump conservatives, this was the best they could bring on the panel, and we'll talk about a bunch of ridiculous comments he's made in our Discord chat in here. And then we come to Jeb Tan, who called into my debate with Noah Smith, the economist, and had good things to say, so I have nothing negative to say about him right now. That's it.
Defend yourself, Tiberius.
We'll get to that in the open. Hello, everyone. My name is Tiberius D. It's a pleasure to be back here again once a week on the Lethe Water Kai panel. Yeah, I'm basically a corn-fed boy from southern Indiana. I grew up from a family of farmers, 7th generation. I also went to college, though, so I kind of split hairs between the right and the left. When it comes to being conservative, there's two general definitions. One I will take where I will say I am very much not a conservative, and one that I take where I will. The general, like, old political science definition of conservatives are the people who want to preserve the status quo. I'm not that shit. I have a lot of knives to throw, particularly at the intelligentsia. I think they need to be brought down a peg. And to do that, like, we definitely have to kind of rehash the system a little bit. On the other side of this, if you believe the philosophical definition under like Edmund Burke and, having this idea where you got to test out your ideas, put them into practice, and it's like, hey, if you have good reason to move on, do so, then I'm absolutely a conservative. Having this idea, like, we still need to move forward, but actually like testing and vetting the ideas, 100% based. I'm cool with it. Anyway, I'm going to open it up for the panel.
Based.
All right.
Can I jump in then?
Before we go any further,
Who wants to start us off?
I want to start us off. I want to talk about what
Hey.
the Hodge twins, what he was just talking about. First,
Oh,
as an
God.
avid conservative, I am the avatar of Dionysus. Therefore, my religious values are the most conservative here as the oldest one. So if I want to take cuckold points and Tiberius Douche's wife and go fuck him in front of him, that is the most conservative thing you could do. I don't want to hear one thing or another out of your mouth saying that's not. In fact, it should be the most individual liberty thing to do. If y'all want to be beta cucks and watch people have sex with your wives, then us alpha male conservatives should be allowed to do it. And I don't want to hear a damn thing out of your mouth about the hot switch, making some dude his bitch by fucking his wife in front of him. Secondly, back to my point, my other thing here
with his brother, with his own brother.
With his twin brother.
They were such alphas that they doubled like Eiffel Towered her with the same
Gross.
Yeah,
genetics.
dude.
That's
Me and my
right.
bros are
Hold
such
on.
alphas.
Hold
We
on.
jerk off in the same room.
Hold on.
in the
Half of
same
the
room. Sometimes help each other. Who knows?
The same egg was more alpha than that whole man. Ain't that a bitch? So anyway, moving on. Here's another thing. Another thing. Let's go with this. I've heard people sit here. First, we'll start with Tankurius D down here. I have heard him advocate for the most social lefty policies I've ever heard, and then sit here and have the audacity to turn right around and tell me that the government doesn't need to uphold the contract that Texas fought 2 wars over on the goddamn border because, ooh, I have feelings. Ooh, we're getting left behind, and Gibbs's tax dollars are paying my food stamps in Indiana because no one wants to buy goddamn
Hold
corn.
on. You've said
That's
this
pathetic.
10 times. How much do you make in a year?
Plenty. I don't even know. That's the best part.
No, I would like a 6 figures, low 6 figures, high 6 figures, mid 6 figures.
It's a good amount. I have like several thousand acres with several hundred head of cattle, and each cow sells for a lot. So
plus that's really Boba Fett's mask.
Okay, the reason why I'm asking is hold on. I need to finish my point. The reason why I'm asking is because most people who use that kind of rhetoric make like 40 grand a year and they pay about 2 grand a year in taxes.
Yeah, well,
so
I'm not
you're
into
the
that. I'm not gonna tell you how
exception.
much
So I'll go ahead and admit that you're the exception to that. But that talking point's still fucking retarded.
Yesterday is
So
hold on. Let me say my issue, and I think it's Connor's issue too, and it's an issue we have to address from the outset to start the debate off. Connor mentioned this about Gibbs. I find it to be true about most of like the hardcore Trump people on the panel. Is they say the things, right? They say the things about conservatism that we agree with: small government, be restrictive about your spending, maybe even throw in some hot, sexy buzzwords like zero-based budgeting and gun law and, less restrictive gun laws and things like that. But then when it comes to Donald Trump, it is you follow him or you are not a conservative, despite him being for none of these things, despite him being somebody who represents a very progressive turn in the GOP. He is actively driving the GOP farther from conservatism. And I get the no true Scotsman argument, right? No one's going to be a perfect conservative. But it is indisputable that Trump is driving us farther from the ideals of conservatism. Regardless of if you think there's any one person who is perfect, there are countless people in Congress and countless people who ran against him in the primaries this year who are more conservative than him, have more conservative voting records, and we even have websites that track this. Ron DeSantis has an incredible voting record. You have Nikki Haley has a better record than Donald Trump does as far as conservative policy. And yet they are the rhinos. They are the non-conservatives because they are not Trump. So I don't understand how you can say that you value conservatism, but then, like Lactoid says, start to operate in a way that pushes people farther from conservatism by vehemently and almost violently advocating for a dude who is not conservative and is pushing the only hope at a conservative party away from conservatism.
Well, hold on, just to be clear, just to be absolutely clear about this. That sentence was I was inferring like never Trumpers with that one.
Yeah,
I can see
the logic applies to Trumpers as well.
Connor wanted to respond.
Yeah, actually, I took bullet points for everything. I wanted to wait for Rob to be here, but honestly, I think there's going to be enough to address that. I'm going to give y'all an earful, so he'll probably come back mid-sentence, and I'll repeat myself if I need to. So, Gibbs self-identified as a libertarian. That makes a fuckload of sense.
I'm not a libertarian.
I mean,
me.
You used one of those fucking terms for sure. And on top of that, you're talking about being a part.
that.
Hold on. You were talking about being a part of the
Never
cult
said
of Dionysus. You were talking about being a part of the cult of Dionysus. We're double teaming a fucking chick in front of her husband
absolutely.
is a part of
Individual
conservative fucking values. Yeah. Individual liberty is libertarian, you fucking mongoloid.
It is
Get your
libertarian,
shit.
but you don't have to be a libertarian to put that stock in individual
Your
liberty.
principles are
hold on.
libertarian.
Texas, hold on. The Texas secessionist movement isn't libertarian, and they're more like they're more Republican than libertarian. They want a government with a strong military. They want government issued things. They want government. Like,
see, Gibbs, this is why I can't take you fucking
difference.
seriously. This is why I can't take you seriously.
Listen,
This is why I can't take you seriously, is because you literally say, I'm not a libertarian, and then you literally describe, shut the fuck up, you fucking retard. Shut the fuck up. 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 I'm gonna keep going. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
Go ahead.
So all right, you literally described minarchism. You fucking cave dweller.
Ooh, we got another guy who can use a big word for touching grass. I'm proud of you.
Minarchism is based.
We got Canadian Liberty 2.0, guys.
Do you know who often defines themselves as minarchists or view themselves as fellow travelers?
Of course, I got the dictionary. Let me help you all out when I think about his word choices here. Oh, Edmund Burke, minarchism. Let me just wipe my ass with that definition.
This is why you're a fucking retard.
No, I'll tell you why I'm not a retard, because you think you fucking think that matters in the least. That's not the definition of conservatism now. That's not the definition of republicanism now. And
are you wasted?
No, I'm not.
Well, he's making that same point. Gibbs.
This is you sober?
Hold on. I know it. Hold on. Listen to me. The fact that you're sitting here telling me, oh, Gibbs said he was a libertarian, and then I sit here and go, oh, I'm in favor of a big government and using the military to take other people's shit, which is definitely anti-libertarian, is fucking amazing. I'm sorry that I don't know where you went to school, and if you got a
Gibbs, I'm gonna fucking rape you.
Your ass with it because it's fucking
when you're done talking, I'm gonna rape you rhetorically.
Try to.
Okay.
You're doing something right now.
So
thank you for that
minarchism.
Listen, he said progressive victory points, but you sound more like cuckold points right now because you're getting made into my bitch.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
You're fucking retarded. You don't know what ideologies are. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up.
Where did you get your degree from?
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up.
That's right.
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Okay.
Yeah.
You literally shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up, you fucking faggot. Shut up. Shut up. Let me go. Okay. So you said, I'm not a libertarian. I would never advocate for the military to do anything. I described, shut the fuck up.
You're just lying. Stop lying.
This is going to be the entire panel if you don't shut the fuck up.
Stop lying.
Okay. Shut up. So minarchism is often thought of as a libertarian anti-status adjacent philosophy because it says that the sole responsibility of the state is security. So it's the one thing that the state should be responsible for. So when you're saying that you're not a libertarian because you don't advocate for military power is literally the next step in libertarian philosophy, you fucking dumb fuck. So why don't you let the adults talk? Let the adults who have read a book talk.
You've literally just made up words, then put them in my mouth and said I
Fine,
said them.
share with me your perspective. Okay, then repeat yourself. Maybe I didn't hear you the first time. Go ahead and repeat yourself. I'll listen because I'm not retarded.
Listen, here's what you should do. You should take your finger, clean out that earwax, and understand some English.
That's not a point. Shut the fuck up.
Well, it's absolutely a point. I definitely advocate.
Can we
for
literally?
So we can take
I'm gonna pull a Brianna Wu. Can we mute him because we're literally not gonna get anywhere? Yeah. Okay.
Well, it was Rob Norris' point out.
We call that.
No, it's not because I literally haven't even gotten through the first point yet.
Well, stop lying.
Okay. All right. Anyways,
I went to the bathroom, and I have to fully admit I have no clue what the original point was.
Cuckold points has been.
We haven't gotten through. We haven't gotten through a single fucking point yet.
And then he's been arguing with himself and this made up strong. I might as well have got the Cowardly Lion. And
give me 20 seconds. Give me 20 seconds, Gibbs, for real, because I have no clue. I wasn't here, so I'm not claiming that he misrepresented. I don't know, but give me 20 seconds on what you were saying. You're basically saying that you're defining conservatism. That's what was happening.
I didn't say I'm defining conservatism. I'll tell you what I am doing is I'm defining what conservatism is not, and that's
okay.
He's over here saying I'm a libertarian when I absolutely am not a libertarian because and then describe policy.
I'm a Texas conservative. I just believe in small government. Shut the fuck up.
To go take other people's shit. Like I mean, what? Like,
let me ask you this, Gibbs. Do you think Trump's a conservative based on your definition of the term?
Absolutely not. He's a 90s Democrat.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say to Jebtan. That's the point I was going to make. Like, listen, I'm not going to bullshit you. It's fucking incredibly annoying people that are Trump cultists. It absolutely is fucking true. I don't think it's the bulk of the people that vote for Donald Trump or even talk favorably of Trump. But there are certainly those that would come out one day and say, yep, ban bump stocks. And then 3 days later, when Trump changed his mind, would say, no, don't ban bump stocks. And I think that's a terrible way to go through the world. I don't believe in a cult of personality. I support Donald Trump, but I criticize him all the time. The idea that you can't be conservative and hate Donald Trump is bullshit, because there is an easy argument to make that if Trump won the primary, he took your party in a less conservative direction. I think that Jebtan's absolutely right, that there were candidates that were more conservative. However, I'm not a good person to give this message. Why? Because I don't consider myself as a forefront to be a conservative. I consider myself to be a populist. I didn't vote for Donald Trump in 2016, 20, or in 2024 because of his conservative values. I voted for him for one reason, which I've been clear about the entire time, because I believe that our institutions are so corrupt that our voices don't matter. And the mere fact that Donald Trump was seen by the people in charge as a potential outsider would do two things. One, it would force them to out themselves as blatantly corrupt, which we see more every day. And second, hopefully Trump could do something about that, which he failed, which is why I supported Vivek and DeSantis over Trump. Not because DeSantis is more conservative, which he is more conservative than Trump. I supported DeSantis because I thought he had a better chance of dealing with this corruption than Trump. However, what I can't understand, and this is what makes this debate weird for me, is I'm not making the criticism to Tiberius Jeb or Connor like, fuck you, you're not voting for Trump, you're not conservative. I'm making the criticism of, what the fuck are you thinking? But a vote against Trump at this point is a vote for the continuing and exponentially increasing corruption of our federal government.
I would like to answer that directly, please, because I actually never even got into a fucking point.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's just, I'll skip the first two because those might not be able to be consumed by some people here. So other people have different definitions for conservatism. I go to the founding father of conservatism. His name was Edmund Burke, who was basically horrified by the progressive destruction of the French nation. And what he saw was traditionalists were holding on to rigid fucking institutions that were falling apart because they were brittle, because they had been held on to for so long, they could no longer justify themselves in modern society. As a result of the traditionalists doing what they did, the progressives seized power and turned France into a fucking catastrophe, a disaster zone that murdered tens of thousands, if not fucking millions of people, and resulted in one of the most authoritarian and brutal fucking emperors, Napoleon fucking Bonaparte, right? So in order to try to avoid this disaster, he said, how do we progress as a society while not jumping the fucking bandwagon? And his general idea was that you needle progressive ideas. When somebody comes up with, they're like, hey, I got a brand new idea, you try to shred it. And you shred all the stupid fucking ideas, and then you keep the ones that are good. That's what he advocated for. That's the foundation of conservatism. When you're talking about modern American conservatives, there's multiple camps. We've talked about, I think Rob mentioned libertarian populist, Republican or conservative. That's what he cares about the most, which actually fits his value set and fits what he's trying to accomplish for America. I am just trying to do something else in an inverted direction. Because while I will agree with him that the federal government has run away from its own mandate in many ways that are not representative of the American people, I am not trying to burn the entire fucking system down, which is what I think Trump represents. What I am trying to do is curtail the power through incremental intelligent change, which is why I think that it's philosophically conservative.
Okay, real quick, if people don't mind me responding to that specifically. So the problem in the French, I know we're going to get a little semantic here. The problem in the French Revolution was holding on to brittle ideas in government by the progressives. I thank you for that history lesson. Progressive victory points, working for progressive victory.
No, hold on. You missed it.
I know you're
the traditionalists. No, hold on. Real quick rebuttal, because I just want to modify your thing a little bit. The monarchists, the kings, were the brittle institution. The progressives were trying to destroy that institution. As a result of destroying that institution, they made the country worse.
Okay, so the point I'm going to try to make, we could wax philosophically, and I could make the argument why Jebtan Tiberius and Connor should vote not for Donald Trump, but against the Democratic Party, is the argument that I try to make to people that don't like Trump, which I think is a fair argument. There's plenty of reasons to dislike Trump. That's fine. I'm not getting into that. However, let's talk about specific argumentation that we made that takes this to me in a more interesting direction, but we'll see where other people
Well, before we move on, let me respond to what you said initially, because I was going to do that.
But okay, fine.
Sure.
notes.
So when and primarily on that point of you got to vote against the Democrats, and that means for Trump. Otherwise, there's a conservatism principle missing. And most of what you said I agreed with, but it goes back to the issue I said at the beginning, which was you're saying all the right things, and then outside of this platform, I've been called a fake conservative by everybody, all the pro-Trumpers here, but Lactoid. Because solely
He
because
hasn't had a chance yet.
Hold on. I
Sure,
don't
give
know
him a
who you are.
chance.
solely because I'm not voting for Trump. My issue is voting for Trump has nothing to do with conservatism because he's not conservative, and you don't always have to vote for the presidency to be a conservative. I'm not voting for Biden. I'm not Connor. I'm not working with Progressive Victory or voting for Biden the way you're saying Connor is.
Rob-
But you guys both just admitted Trump is a 90s Democrat. So I don't know why you're throwing stones at Connor for working with Democrats when you're admittedly voting for one. That's my problem is I'm voting for president. Hold on. Give me a second. This is my final point and why it has nothing to do with conservatism. This has more to do with electoral philosophy and what we have built the foundation of America on, which is that it is not my job to represent politicians. It is politicians' job to represent me. So I'm not going to vote for Trump just because he is more conservative than the Democrat when he hasn't earned my vote because he also is a Democrat. So he needs to represent me before I'm going to vote for him. I am not going to go out to the ballot box and represent him by voting for him a third time when he has failed on every single promise. Almost every single promise that he made. He did an okay job with deregulation. Other than that,
so to respond to that, and then I'll get back to Connor here because it intertwines, right?
Yeah, I figured it would. That's why I wanted to do that.
Okay, so the argument is I've certainly called you probably a rhino and a fake conservative, which I'll stand by those as placeholders for telling you to fuck off, that you're like basically when I say rhino, like here's the thing, like in the heat of an argument, oftentimes you use simple words that are easy to get to, right? It's an easy insult to call someone a rhino. Is that overused? Yes. Is it true that people say you're not a real conservative and that's overused? Of course. What I mean by that and what I'm saying is there is a wing of the Republican Party who I think still controls the party, the Mitt Romneys, the Mitch McConnells, etc., that fucking hate Trump. Because to me, and this is why I'm not the best person for this debate, I'm not looking at it through a conservative, progressive lens. I'm looking at it through a populist lens. I see corrupt, entrenched institutions, and I want those dealt with. That's what I see. I don't want to burn it all down. I just think accountability needs to happen in a significant way. That might mean getting rid of institutions like the FBI, but that's not burning the entire country down. Just let me finish real quick, Con. So when I say you're a rhino, what I'm saying is, to me, the rhinos, what they represent is, first and foremost, entrenched power. They do not want someone coming up from within their own party that they don't have control over. And so when you're saying, like, I'm not going to vote for Trump, I'm calling you a rhino because you share that belief with Liz Cheney and Adam Kissinger. Now, does that mean that maybe that you could make the argument, actually, they're more Republican than Trump? That's fine. I don't give a shit about the semantic of it. So that's my explanation for why I called you that. To talk to Connor specifically, right? Now, I know this isn't the best form, so I'll ask just in generalities. I swear to God, I'm not going to make fun of anyone's family appearance and shit like that. But does anyone mind if I bring up conversations we had in our private Discord chat? Is that something that will piss anyone off? Okay. So when Connor talks about the problem with... Okay, great. I knew it. So when Connor talks about entrenched corruption or entrenched brittle ideas that are leading then progressives, and so then he falls, I'm guessing that's what you're saying, you fall somewhere in the middle. The conservatives were like, no, we don't throw out the baby at the bathwater, but you're right, there are problems with the entrenched. When I bring up on our Discord chat the obvious problems with this Bragg case, right, and the fact that the last time I talked to Connor about it, he made the following argument: clearly you can't use campaign money to pay off a porn star. And I told him it's the exact opposite, actually. They're saying he had to do that. That's what they're saying, that he had. And then we talked later, and he said, yeah, I guess you're right. If he didn't use campaign money, maybe you would have an argument. So once he's convicted and we're in the Discord chatting like the next day, this was his argument to me when I said, Connor, remember when you were wrong about that? He said, Right, Rob, because we're going to believe you, and I'm quoting now, not the entire legal system. Now, this is such a fallacious and stupid fucking argument that speaks to the exact opposite of what I think Burkean conservatism would be, which is he is saying that we have to trust that this trial was done fairly, that the charges were legitimate, that it wasn't a political prosecution, that there aren't grounds for appeals, because we must trust the establishment. We must hold on to the brittle institutions. And so the reason I bring this up in the context of it is you could see that he's not a conservative in my mind, at least not first and foremost. He might be a conservative. He shares a characteristic with the most progressive left-wing people I debate, which is his fucking ideology is Orange Man bad. And that's what lets him to make such a fucking stupid comment like that.
Connor?
Okay. Yeah, I need to respond, and I need to respond uninterrupted. So let's just go with the Trump case. Fuck it. So, Rob, one comment before we get into the Trump case. So somebody pointed out in my chat, and I think that they are correct, that you are saying that part of the problem is corruption, entrenched interest, people taking advantage of the American people, et cetera, et cetera. What they said, and what I agree with, is that Trump is worse in almost every fucking degree possible when it comes to nepotism, cronyism, promoting incompetent people, trying to get people who are his sycophants into positions of power. He is cronyism and nepotism and not giving a fuck about the Republic on steroids. And I think that this is evidenced by his behavior, and it's evidenced by his promises in this election cycle. So the thing that you want to fight, I think Trump is worse in that value set. All right. So that's the first point. Now, when it comes to the Trump trial, my presumption during our first conversation was that it was something to do with campaign election finance issues. So my presumption based off of stereotypes was that he took money from the campaign, not his own money, and then funneled it to a porn star in order to cover up cover up a story. And as a result of that, that's why he got into trouble, because he used money inappropriately. Since that time, I have actually looked at the statutes. I have looked at the case. I have posted a video in our group chat that breaks down the statutes that he violated. And the only argument that could be made about like campaign finance is whether or not Michael Cohen made an undeclared contribution to the Trump campaign. That is it. It actually has very little to do with Trump's conduct. So when you're trying to argue with a 2-month-old version of me, your information is not updated. The video that I posted actually walks through meticulously how the Trump campaign and Trump specifically violated falsifying a business record. And then they also walk through meticulously New York State Statute 17-152, which was the extension that made it a felony. Now, to come your way a little bit, I think it's fucky. Now, fucky, not illegal, but I do think it's fucky that the statute does not specify whether or not it's a federal election or a state election, and this is now a state election enforcing law in reference to a federal election. I think that's fucking weird. Now, that being said, the falsification of the business records is almost inarguable, and I am happy to hear your arguments against them.
Okay, two things. First,
we literally just came from this debate.
Right. First, to address your first point, and then we'll get into the second. To address your first point, that Trump's worse.
Thank you.
Right? To get to that point, right?
He loves nepotism and cronyism.
I remember 2016 to 2020. I remember when Trump was there and he weaponized his FBI to go after parents of his opposition at school boards. I remember that. I remember when Trump was there and he locked up his political opponent and his DOJ charged them with felony after felony after felony. I remember that, right? I remember when he brazenly flaunted the Supreme Court that said that he couldn't refund student loans and he did it. I remember when the members of the
this is gay. Get to the point.
I want to respond after
Biden is bad because he violates the spirit of the law. Awesome. Trump's still a massive fucking piece of shit, and I think he's worse.
Right. The argument isn't that Trump's a piece of shit or not.
And then Lactoid and then Gibson.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
No, sorry.
that
I want
now or
Rob
is
to
that later?
continue.
No, I'm saying
I
after
just
Rob
no.
finishes.
Hold on.
After
I
Rob,
want
okay.
Rob to continue. I'm
Okay.
just making the point that I
It's
understand that he's saying
he's
these
not-
are all the bad things that Democrats and Biden has done. Oh wait, it's not Trump. It's really Biden and the Democrats. I was there 10 seconds into the argument.
Okay,
Finish the argument.
The point is, then everyone can see that you're clearly full of shit because it wasn't even close. In fact, the argument that Trump's going to weaponize the government, the guy couldn't even pull out of Syria because his fucking generals lied to him. Everyone in his fucking team was constantly stabbing him in the back.
So isn't that an argument to incompetence?
It has nothing to do with incompetence. Your argument was like, I'm talking specifically
I'm sorry.
about the
What's the
weaponization.
rule of somebody who governs?
Did
Is it
you
to
not
get
ask
people
Hold on,
to
let me
execute his
interrupt when you
agenda?
fucking talked?
Let
Did
him
you
finish,
not
and then I
ask?
want to jump in because I'm going to
Right.
say a lot of
No,
this.
no, I don't know why you're
stuff.
jumping in. I want Rob to answer. Is it not the role of an executive to get people to like do your government bidding, to
Sure.
build consensus, to
Now
build
listen,
policy, to
I'm
build
sorry.
coalitions?
I want to apologize. I was getting your name. I mean, listen, Progressive Victory Points. We'll get to this. Right? What you're trying to do.
It'll
what
be
you're
funnier
trying to
the
do is
50th time.
inflate- That's well. We'll try about the 1,000th time. But what you're trying to do is you're conflating issues. You're saying Trump appointed incompetent people. Trump was nepotistic. He appointed people. That's not what my criticism is. My criticism is corruption and the weaponization of government. And all of these people that talk about what if Trump gets in office and does what Democrats do? Okay, well, we saw him for 4 years. What did he do? Was he locking up political opponents? No, he wasn't. And you could say maybe
Was
he
it
wanted
for
to.
a lack
Maybe-
of
Here we go,
trying,
interrupting
Rob?
again.
Was it
Like
for
a
a
good
lack
little
of
progressive.
trying?
Like a good little progressive interrupting because he can't handle facts. So he has to live in
I'm
this fucking
happy to
fake
listen
world.
to you.
You-
I'm just making an
What are you
interjection
talking
because I
about?
think
I
you're
interrupted.
fucking
What are you
wrong.
criticizing
Hey,
Gibbs?
hey,
What are you
whoa,
criticizing Gibbs?
I was going to jump in
I'll
right
sit here and
after
I'll
this.
listen.
Oh, you're fine.
I'll listen happily. Go, Rob.
Fine. The point
Sure.
is,
We
he
gotta let
came
Rob
in
finish.
and the institutions that are entrenched in power were weaponized almost immediately against him in ways that I could talk to you about for 8 hours if you like, but you know it. And the argument that you're making, let's assume that you're even right, that Trump would have tried to do the same or worse, but he can't. Because those same institutional controls are out to get him and did everything possible to fucking sabotage him in
Maybe
corrupt
because he's an
ways and
incompetent
protect
piece
his
of
opponents.
shit.
Okay, then your argument is he's incompetent, not that he's led to a practically more corrupt government if he was elected than the Democrats right now. It's not true. We've seen 4 years of Trump. The answer to your argument is because every institution, the FBI, the IRS, the EPA, the State Department, the mainstream media, fucking every institution in this country is going to go knives out for him, including members of his own fucking party are going to go knives out, that he will not be able to engage in the corruption that we've seen routinely when it comes to this administration and prior administrations. And the fact that you don't understand that is more indicative. You're literally trying to make the argument that Trump in 2016 to 20 was as corrupt and did as much shit to violate our norms and to like, and as far as general corruption.
He did one thing I care about. So,
Yeah.
anyways,
So
so hold on.
Victor,
Jeb,
we know you cried. We got it.
All right.
Little
so
Adam
sorry,
Simpson
Jeb, go ahead because you've been waiting,
Yeah.
but I would like to respond.
Sure, it'll be quick. One thing that I love that Rob Noor just did was he did what I also try to do, which is I'm like, guys, if you look at the conservative Supreme Court, the conservative representatives that aren't MGT and all that, they're great. Rob made my point while kind of arguing against his point. He kept talking about all these times Trump tried to weaponize the government the same way
I
that
didn't talk
Biden
about
did.
that. I said
And
I-
his people,
And
okay,
failed.
you did. You said you said that everybody in the party was protecting his political opponents, which is implying that he was attacking his
That's not
political
what I-
opponents with that power. And and again, doesn't matter if you said it. He said it. Lock her up, lock her up. He wanted Barr to go after his
Ukraine.
political opponents. He wanted Barr to find fraud in the election. But here's the problem. You're endorsing the establishment GOP because they stopped him from doing that.
That's not true. That's such a
Attorney
dumb point.
General, hey, I'm not done. You went for a
Gotta let
long
him make
time.
it. You got to let him make it.
Attorney General Bill Barr didn't find fraud in the election and said I didn't find fraud in the election. Attorney General Bill Barr and the Benghazi, the special counsel on Benghazi and all that, they couldn't find sufficient evidence to prosecute, and so they didn't. The conservative structures in the government are awesome. And finally, the only time that Trump got his way when he tried to weaponize systems or weaponize groups of people was when there were no other conservatives standing in the way, and that was January 6th, because even Mike Pence standing in the way and saying, I don't have this power, this is not something I can do, and it's not something we should try to do. Trump got his own fucking sycophants to chant that he should be hanged, to march on the Capitol. And again, I think it was a riot. I don't think it was a coup. I don't think it was a crazy coup, but he still tried to weaponize them to the extent that he could. And the conservative establishment stopped him. So while I agree that Trump would be less damaging than Biden, because it does seem like Biden's organization is lockstep in attacking political opponents and abusing the systems of government, that's an endorsement of the idea that we just need to get the fuck rid of Trump so the conservatives can come back in and protect the fucking republic.
No, that's an endorsement of the idea that you accept the weaponization of government against Trump and all of the illegal.
No, I don't, and you know I don't.
No, I support the restriction of Trump's ability to weaponize the systems of government against his political.
Before everyone goes off, Wactoid has something he's been trying to get in for a minute. So go ahead.
Couple quick points. Firstly, there's a lot more to that case. We're not going to get into it here, but there's a lot more to that case, Connor. That
you saw video. He knows.
Yeah. You can watch the you can watch the debate we just did on it, or I can explain it to you. There's more that you're missing there. It's not as clear as you're saying. I do, I guess, have two things. Jeb, one for you. You bring up the Supreme Court and how much you like that institution, which I do too. And in fact, if I do endorse Trump and vote for him, it would be specifically because of the Supreme Court. And I think that when people talk about like conservative presidents and they say Trump's not all that conservative, I can see why you can say this is almost kind of like a meta discussion, because maybe in his personal beliefs he's not all that conservative, but the impact he had as a president, I think, was more conservative than George Bush. And what I mean by that is
justices.
The justices, right? Maybe, and you can say that's an accident, right? But here's the reality, Jeb. If Trump gets elected, he's picking the Supreme Court justices off the Federalist Society shortlist. That Federalist Society organization is an incredibly trust me, I know, is an incredibly principled, a lot of integrity. It's a fantastic organization that selects very good justices, and this is one of the best Supreme Courts we've ever had. Now, if Biden gets elected, he's going to pick more justices like Justice Jackson, right? Now, in terms of actually, if you actually value, and maybe you don't, but if you actually value conservatism, you have to understand that if Biden wins, even if Trump's not fully there as a conservative, like just that alone, the Supreme Court alone will do more damage to your version of conservatism than Trump winning, for sure.
Sure. 20-second thing. I'm not supporting Biden. I think any other conservative. The issue is Trump. Yes, Trump's outcome was really conservative in terms of the Supreme Court, disproportionately to George W. Bush. George W. Bush didn't get to fill 2 or 3 seats in the Supreme Court. He just didn't have that opportunity. I think Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley both would pick conservative justices to fill vacant seats. And I voted for Ron. I voted for Ron in the primary. This is the reality like that I think you have to deal with, which is there's a value judgment occurring, right? The value judge do you value conservatism in terms of practical application, or do you like hate this idea of Trump representing like a non-conservative kind of image, and then him being the front runner of the Republican Party and him taking power? But I guess my argument would be, if you actually did care about conservative values, then like the practical like application of conservatism through the justices specifically and other people that Trump would appoint, but specifically the Supreme Court, because that's the most important one. I don't see, honestly, how, at least in terms of practical terms, how you can be an effective conservative unless you're voting for Trump. Sure. So let me quickly. So it is about impact. Here's the thing. One, if we're going to look at practical impact, I'm actually going to calculate that. The likelihood that I think in order for the Supreme Court to lose the conservative majority, we'd have to lose 2 justices to make it 4 to 5.
Clarence Thomas is sick.
Sure, Clarence Thomas is sick. That's one. I don't see the imminent likelihood that we're going to lose 2 Supreme Court justices. It seems like a really low likelihood. It seems like a really high likelihood that Trump continuing to have a stranglehold in the party is going to move the whole party more progressive. And I think that is a higher likelihood than, but here's my thing. I still think Trump becoming president would be a better outcome politically for me, policy-wise, in the United States. But he hasn't earned my vote, and because the likelihood of a Supreme Court crisis coming to account during the Biden presidency is so low. I don't mind forcing the GOP to fucking, like, I don't mind if I were to have all the power in the world to move the Republican vote, telling them not to vote for Trump and forcing the GOP to put somebody out there who earns conservative votes, because the likelihood is low. And I think one more, dude, if we've all been here, here's something that most of us can agree on. Maybe not Connor and Tybe. I think a Biden presidency for another 4 years guarantees a Republican presidency after. This is sucked. This is fucking sucked.
Wait. Hold on. That is not guaranteed, and that's an important.
I mean, sure, not guaranteed.
It's not guaranteed. One last thing out.
It makes it more likely than two conservative Supreme Court justices dying or retiring.
No. Hold on. Real quick. Hold on. 1 second.
It was Connor and Gibbs.
I have one follow up on what he said though in response to me, which is that it's not guaranteed. I think that you can't predict that, and we can't predict how justices are going to die. They can surprise you, but I actually think that even your goal here, the best way to make sure Trump can't run again is to get his second term out of the way. Because if he wins,
and I've said that
because if he loses this election, you know what he's going to do next time? He's going to run. He's going to run, and he's going to run, and he's going to run, and he's going to run until he wins one more. If he wins this one, then he can't run anymore. And now Trump is effectively out of the party. Like he's out.
Somebody else vote for him then. I mean, you guys make that happen. I don't want to put that vote out there because, again, it is not my job. This is a conservative principle. It is not my job to represent my representatives. It is the representative's job to represent me.
So you don't think that, I just want to be quick. I'll be very quick. So you're saying you're taking more of a deontological perspective, that your principle is more important than the practical values of what would actually happen. That's what you're saying.
I think principle leads to better practical values over time. But it's like gambling.
It would be worse.
Sure, it's like gambling. Any given hand, right? You can play the positive EV hand every time, and for 3-4 years or 3-4 election cycles, lose every time. But as you go longer, if we consistently rely on principle, I think over the long term, principle will settle you toward goals that align with those principles. Because if Trump wasn't here, we wouldn't be relying on big strongman populist politics to lead the GOP to a win. We might actually have established a precedent for strategic and effective GOP policymaking like Ron DeSantis has been doing in Florida. But we didn't. We leaned on populism and big strongman politics against our principles, and look at the mess we're in now. So over the long term, we need to rely on principle. Right. Because again, we can't guess the likelihood of 2 justices dying and flipping liberal in the next 4 years is as low as a Democrat being elected after Biden, if not lower, because Biden fucking sucks.
We need to get back to Bill Barr covering up corruption at the FBI to go after Trump. That's what we need to. That's the principal conservative.
Sure, yeah. Bill Barr, not a conservative. Sure.
Yeah.
So, I didn't say that, did I?
Yeah. Okay. So there's this analogy that I told Stardust right before this panel, and I think it applies. And I really want you to ruminate. I want you to marinate on it. Okay. So if you wake up and you bump into one asshole, okay, you bumped into an asshole. If you bump in to 2 assholes, it's a bad day. If you bump in to a whole bunch of people and everyone's a fucking asshole, you're the asshole. Okay. So when you're talking about Trump, Bill Barr's an asshole. Yes. Mike Pence is an asshole. Cohen's an asshole. Hope Hicks is an asshole. James Mattis is an asshole. Ivanka Trump's an asshole. Jared Kushner's an asshole. Melania Trump, his own fucking wife, is a fucking asshole for not.
What the fuck are you arguing against?
I'm not arguing against shit. I'm saying that Trump is surrounded by fucking assholes.
Tell me specifically. Melania's an asshole. You're saying Melania's an asshole.
No. I'm saying Trump thinks his own wife is an asshole for not supporting him while he was fucking banging other whores behind his back.
Did you see?
That's what I'm saying.
Where's that quote?
What the asshole quote? I mean, I just told you.
Where's him saying my wife's an asshole? I missed that.
Man, you got a wife that looks like
all right, anyways, so you're missing the point. You're missing the forest for the trees because you guys aren't tracking. That's totally fine. But anyways, I didn't realize that this conversation wasn't a debate about like the values or the philosophy of conservatism or republicanism. It's a Trump fucking dick sucking contest. Y'all can say fucking cuck points or progressive points or whatever, but literally Trump's fucking dick is so fucking jammed down your guys' throats that you might as well be sucking his balls and taint as well. It's fucking amazing.
Look at the
how
projection.
big
You
will fucking defend the biggest
piece
piece of shit on the fucking planet.
You would
And
love
by the way,
that. You would love
sorry,
it.
I want you to rail me?
No, I
I'm
said you
6'4"
want
and
Trump to.
230 pounds. How fucking tall are you, bud? I don't think I'd feel you. Are you in yet?
I didn't say that. I said you want
Okay.
Trump to fuck you, and he's taller than you.
I
isn't he?
wouldn't feel
saying you
Trump
would take it.
either.
Dry. You take it dry.
Okay.
What you call
All right.
See,
Anyways,
all these fucking
you're a big
progressives
fan.
like Connor,
I get it. You're a big fan. You're a big fan of Trump's
didn't say that
dick
at all.
size.
Didn't say
I don't
that at
want to
all.
talk about that anymore. I would like to talk about values I would like to conserve.
Wait, Connor.
Systems
about
that
the
I would
things
like to
people are
conserve. I don't want to get
actually
distracted with the
talking
Trump
about.
dick
That's what
sucking
I
thing.
would
I was just calling them gay. It's a joke. Gibbs
Connor,
and Rob
if
are gay for
you're-
Trump. That's the
Connor,
joke. If you
your
didn't get it, the joke is that Rob and Gibbs are gay, and they like
okay,
Trump.
wait, real quick, Connor. If your position
get
is
it?
one of like, if your position is one of like genuine and principled like anti-Trumpism,
Sure.
I have to
was
call you
just
out on
about
this
to
a
get
little
into
bit.
that.
Like, why are you affiliated with an organization? Like, instead of affiliating with an organization that's pro-Republican and anti-Trump, why are you affiliated with an organization that its expressive purpose is to make Democrats more left? This would seem to be anti-conservative.
And
at the
win
very
down
least.
ballot.
So I'll answer your question first, but I would like the ability to finish the rest of my points after that. Okay.
Isn't
So,
it nice when people
number
don't
one-
interrupt you? You demand that of people, huh? That's nice. We'll give you the treatment you've treated others with.
He
How's that
asked
sound?
very
Okay, I'm
politely.
listening.
He
Oh,
said it
that
very
is
well.
true. He did. He
I mean,
did ask politely.
If you guys want to keep going off about how Trump is amazing, you can keep going if you want. I'll
No,
listen.
I didn't say that at all, did I?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. You're done with that.
All
You're all right. We're done with the gay simping. Okay, cool. So, anyways,
You'll keep doing it.
to answer your question directly, Lactoid. So they asked, okay. I'm not friends with any Republican PACs. I'm not friends with any liberal Democrat PACs. I'm not friends with anybody like that. Somebody was a part of this PAC. They said, hey, I think I see your skill set. I think you could contribute to this project. We want to get Biden in office. I know that you prefer Biden over Trump. Do you want to help us do this? And I said yes. And they also paid me, and that's fucking great. Now, the reason why when you're talking about moving people further left, okay, which is a stated goal of progressive victory. I don't share that goal. I don't share that in meetings. I'm not. So, for instance, Jamal Bowman is running up in New York or New Jersey. If I had gone, I would have only acted in a logistical capacity. I would not have canvassed for Jamal Bowman. And basically, like, I'm going to work with people to achieve a political result that I think is beneficial to the nation. And when they say things that I don't like, I'm going to plug my nose. So kind of the way that Rob does when he's sucking Trump.
You just criticize. That's his whole argument. His whole argument is, how could you be a principled conservative and vote for Donald Trump? That's sort of like selling out your values.
Well, that's because, Rob, I'd like to answer that specific point. I would 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 like to answer that specific point.
Counterpoints. You're up next, Gibbs.
So because I read books that have philosophy and ideology and words that are more than 4 letters long in them.
Yes.
I
got my degree from DeVry. My name is Counterfact because I took everything
Valencia.
Gibbs said earlier and then said the opposite.
It was Valencia Community College.
That's good. Valencia, Fugazi, for whatever it doesn't mean shit, bro. Like,
he cringed to attack the specifics of his education when you wouldn't give the specifics of your pay, dude.
Hold on. Now I just want to see what retarded shit he's going to say. Sorry, Gibbs. Go ahead.
Hold on. I will cry. You over here sat here and talked for the last 20 minutes making the most bitch-ass comments about, oh, these guys are gay, they're such a... Whenever you have a hate boner so hard for Trump that, like, you're going to cry. I didn't even like Trump. I've never even been a huge Trump guy.
No, all of you say that, but you defend him to the ends of your fucking breath. I don't buy it. It's a lie. You love Trump.
It's fine, that's fine. Let me listen. I sit here, I voted for Lizard Man, fucking DeSantis. I can't help that he can't smile and didn't get elected. Then I wanted to vote for Vivek. Well, guess what? Vivek ended up being a psycho and quit out too. So guess what? what? Who are we left with? Well, it's between Nikki Haley, the Democrat plant, or or Donald Trump, at least the guy that's going to try to do something better. Hold on, I just listened to you, bitch, for a minute. The Biden family over here, you're like, oh, which one am I going to choose? And then you have the audacity after you just said here in your opening, I said a whole spiel, and then you literally said the opposite of what I said, and then tried to say, oh, that's what Gibbs's values are. That's how dishonest you are. Just like you're being dishonest about all of this bullshit. You're totally fucking sitting here trying to pigeonhole, say we're all dick sucking Trump, when it's more of, holy shit, you're literally advocating for progressive socialism run by a fucking mafia family, and you're like, hey, you know what? Guess what? Not only am I advocating for that, but I'm taking it up the ass from them, from Brianna Wu, and getting paid in Wu bucks. Let's go.
Okay, Gibbs, you said nothing of value, so I'm just going to respond with the easiest. You said nothing of value. You said nothing of value. You said nothing of value, so I'm just going to call you gay and move on. You're gay.
That's good.
So, anyways, so talking about
gay and move on. That's so original from fucking the guy.
You literally said nothing. You said almost nothing.
You said nothing ever.
Sorry, I'll let other people go, but my rebuttal is you're gay.
Gibbs, moderator talking. Moderator talking.
So
I do have several bullet points when they're done.
And then after you get done, Tiberius.
That's what called winning looks like, guys. That's what it looks like. You saw it here first.
Just respect the moderator, dude.
Who's going, Connor?
I'm happy to go. I'm waiting.
Who's going? If you could if Gibbs could shut up and let Leith
go. I waited.
Leith, who's going?
Minutes while I listened to all that. Then
You're up, Connor, and then Tiberius.
He was going to send it to you if you let him talk.
Okay. So I listened to Gibbs's rant. I got almost no value out of it. I called him a homosexual. I'm going to move on. So anyways, so talking about philosophical conservatism, the thing that we're allegedly here for, the thing where you try to preserve institutions that you believe are functioning or almost functioning, and then trying to not throw the baby out with the bathwater so you cause anarchy to the point that millions of people die. So I think that American global hegemony, I can agree with Rob that from a historical perspective, it was never voted on. The American people did not consent to being the world police. It's a role that they grew into after World War II. I still think that if you look at the material benefits to the globe and the United States as a whole, American global hegemony is a good thing and worthy of maintaining. When it comes to American military tech dominance, I know a lot of people are critical of the military-industrial complex. I fucking love the military-industrial complex. I think it's fucking based. I love F-35s. I love F-22s. I love A-10 Warthogs. I love close air support. I love radios. I love stealth. I love B-2 stealth bombers. I love B-21 Spirits. If I could suck anyone off, it would be the CEO of Lockheed Martin. Okay? Now, American dominance of global trade. If you look at the GDP of the world, it's roughly $100 trillion of economic output. The United States and its allies is $70 trillion of that $100 trillion. The people who are outside of this hegemonic network are places like Iran, Russia, North Korea, and China. And when I look at those societies, I think of them as authoritarian, dystopian, and evil on scales of which that make American corruption look cute and quaint by comparison. Mixed economy capitalism is my jam. But the problem for Trump is the fact that Biden also is cool with mixed economy capitalism. He's not a socialist. He's not a leftist. He's not a communist. He likes the free market. Y'all can call him a fucking commie, but he's fucking not. I think that if we do elect Trump, that Democrats will be so anti-Trump that they will run in the opposite direction of a border bill. Whereas, since Biden is actually showing some progress on the fucking becoming hawkish on the border, there's actually a strong chance of passing a bipartisan bill. Whoa. Finally. Yep. Yeah. I got another point.
All these books.
Yep.
Yeah. Great.
Good. Yeah. Good. I read these books to come up with my opinions. I read the books.
Did you notice how we sit here for like 6 minutes and let you go on without interrupting until finally you were droning on so long that it's just going to be the Connor show apparently from now on, as opposed to you who wants to fucking misrepresent and interrupt every 10 seconds? Go ahead, finish.
No, you have something very important to say. Tell me.
I would like. Tiberius has been waiting patiently. Be nice to hear from him, I guess, even though he's shit. But why not?
Appreciate that, Rob.
Tiberius,
I just had Yeah, Gibbs, I just had a question because, like, I actually don't understand the consistency here. Like, Haley is a big, business, big defense conservative. Like, it seems like you would agree on pretty much everything. What was her problem?
Hey, listen, I'll tell you what her problem was. She was a fucking Democratic plant with no fucking actual values that flip-flopped.
She was a
everything.
Trump appointee.
So what? She was dog shit. She was a dog shit candidate. Every time she opened
So
her mouth-
dog shit. She
Hey,
took 20% of a primary when she wasn't even running
She
anymore.
was fine, Gibbs.
Oh, hey,
Come
listen,
on.
hold on. Every time she opened her mouth, the screech
Wasn't
of
even
a mouth-
running
the screech of a-
20%.
The screech of 1,000 angry harpies that sound like counterpoints here rose.
Yes,
from
we
the
get
ass
it. She
and
was a
fucking
woman, and you
like,
didn't want to vote for her because
she was
she's a
just
woman.
shitty
We
as fuck.
understand.
Bro, I mean,
Yeah,
she was
not
about as
progressives.
worthless as Connor's big books degree from ITT
Sure,
Tech.
Gibbs,
that
tell
she
me
has
one
right here.
policy you didn't
big
like.
books. She's got big books, bro. He's so smart. I just
Gibbs,
read
one
literacy
policy.
more.
One policy you didn't like from
All
Haley.
of them. She was dog shit. I would have rather. I don't care what her policies was. I would have rather.
Just
voted
name
for-
one then.
I
You're
would
retarded.
have literally have voted.
Hey, wait, you
for
pointed at
something,
me.
I
You're,
would have
you're
literally
retarded
voted
and
for
you make this
fucking,
panel worse.
No, it's not. Oh, go good. Listen, that comes from the guy. That
One
doesn't-
policy. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for one.
Wait,
policy
hold on,
that
wait.
Haley
You would have voted for Nikki Haley over Biden, though, right, Gibbs?
Absolutely.
See, there you go.
Yeah.
Why not
absolutely.
over Trump?
He-
She's
he
more
has that-
conservative.
No, but he has that on you guys, right? He does have that on you.
No,
which
he
is
doesn't.
That,
Because
no.
Nikki
Wait.
Haley is actually conservative.
No.
She was taking more
Oh,
money from
wait.
progressive
Stop.
victory
No, Jeff.
than Connor was. Like, it's
Wait,
crazy.
wait, Jeff. The reason why he's got you on that is when push comes to shove, in a general, like when the conservative practicalities are going to come forward, he just said he would vote for Nikki Haley over
I'm
Biden.
actually morally consistent.
Yeah, but here's the
sellout washout.
Yeah, no,
Like that.
I'm very no. I'm more morally consistent.
From
No.
Brianna Wu
Gibbs.
and the progressives. Like, it's fucking
Gibbs,
outrageous.
you don't have it on me. You're not morally
I've
consistent
never
because
seen
you
a
just
bigger
called her a
strap-on
Democrat.
than what
Excuse
Joe's
me.
done now.
Excuse me. You just called her a Democrat plant and then said you would still vote for her as long as she beat Trump because you're not morally consistent.
Because she's
You
still
don't
better than the
know what
Biden
they
crime family.
represent.
That's
Holy
so-
fuck. Like, I mean, do you want socialist crime as your literal
No,
elected?
Define
want
socialism. Hold on. Everybody shut up. 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 Jeb,
All
please,
socialism should be a crime.
please. No one talk until I hear from Gibbs. I desperately want to hear your definition of socialism.
Oh yeah, I'll give you one example. How about the infrastructure bill? Socialism.
Okay,
That's your
give me another. Hold on.
Oh,
Give me
fuck.
another example of
Well, you don't
socialism.
think that's socialism? Does that fall under socialism?
That's actually in the Communist Manifesto. I have a
Okay,
copy.
hold on. Give me. Nobody else talk. Nobody else talk. I'm here to be educated.
He would know that.
I'm here to be educated. I went to a community college. Jeb, stop. Let him go. Let him go. I want to hear another example of socialism.
Another example of social. I mean, why do I need to give you another example after I just gave you?
How about
the
a
fucking
definition?
biggest one that's been passed in recent history.
How about a
Holy
definition?
shit. Look at this cope. I gave you the literal.
How about a
prime
definition?
example passed by the Biden. I don't need it.
The student
How about a
loan,
definition?
the student loan stuff.
I mean, that's another one, but that's not the point. The infrastructure.
How about
bill
a
is such
definition?
I mean, listen. You bitch about everybody else talking when you talk, and then I talk.
I
you know,
only
God,
want to
I think
hear
you have-
from you. I
I'm gonna
only
try
want to
answer,
hear
but
from you.
You're sitting here being bad faith in every
I think
aspect.
you're
I don't know why.
Hold on.
Listen,
I
all of you.
exclusively, I only want to hear you talk. I want you to say the word socialism, and then I want you to define it.
Okay, I'm going to do that with an example, and the example is the infrastructure bill. Do you
The
follow
example
along?
is
Wow,
actually
it's like you-
retarded,
Hey,
and I
hold on.
want
That's
you
like me
to
going, let me
define
give you
it.
an example of addition. 2 + 2
Define it.
= 4. I think you learned that
Define
in
it.
school. Then you might well
Define
have
it.
Define
Define it.
Define
It
addition.
literally is absolutely an example of social.
Define
gonna
it.
jump
It's an
in here.
example, but
Define
not a
it.
definition.
Define it.
Jump in here. So
Define
we're not
it.
here all night.
Define it.
Connor, I
Define
read
it.
books
I'm going to
as
do it for
well,
10 more
so-
seconds.
Books.
Define it.
Go ahead, Connor.
Define it. Define it.
The infrastructure
You
bill,
don't know what a
infrastructure
definition
Yeah,
is
that's
because
10
you're a
seconds.
fucking
Wait,
idiot.
Wait. I'm
You're
going
a
to back up Gibbs. I'm going to back up Gibbs a
fucking
little bit. I'm going to back up Gibbs a
Run
little
the
bit. Hold on.
This is
It's
what
not.
I'm doing. That's a real thing.
Hold on. It's not actually fair to say like what's the definition of socialism because oftentimes definitions that we use here are going to be based on the contemporary context in which we use them. So national socialism, despite the fact these two words are it's just national and it's just socialism. It's socialism for the nation. No, that actually means something very different. Democratic republic. Well, what's a democratic republic? where are the democratic republics? North Korea, for example, it's obviously not a democratic republic, but they call themselves a democratic republic.
No,
What are the social? Wait, hold on, real quick. What are the
Lactoid.
socialists? Wait, hold on, real quick. What do the socialists in America advocate for today? They advocate for the shit that Gibbs is talking about: the infrastructure bill, student loan forgiveness, universal health care. While I agree with you that, like, under the old definitions, like Marxist definitions, this wouldn't be socialism, but now it's all the shit the socialists push, which I mean, for all intents and purposes, is socialism.
I mean,
Lactoid.
Hold on. We can keep going. We can keep going with this. We can go with food
Please.
stamps, any other welfare. We can go all sorts of these.
Yeah.
I keep listening. These are all examples. And here's what's so bad faith about this: the fact that I give him an example, and he goes, "Oh, I want a definition." When there's been about 50 definitions of socialism, 50 definitions coming. If you go,
Yeah, I was asking for one.
Hold on. If you give me an example, I said, give you an example of communism, and you start talking about Chairman Mao, that's a lot different than Stalinism, Leninism. That's different.
That's not what I was going to do.
Well,
So,
I know it's
so
not, because
I
that's
would like to
highbrow and
articulate what happened
intelligent
when
from
you're
you,
done
even though you're
ranting.
Okay,
I would
hold
like
on,
to articulate what
well, I
happened.
can't be done ranting when you keep
He'll be done
interrupting
in
me
a
like you
moment.
just bitched.
I'll wait.
But after you hold on, after you just asked for definitions, I give you examples, more examples, which you can take those as definitions. This is how bad faith he is. But he read a lot of books, and the Communist Manifesto, that's one of them you should probably read. But since you got your degree from ITT Tech, I understand why you're confused about that.
Okay, I would like to summarize the scenario and the point I was trying to illustrate.
Oh, good.
So,
Please do.
Typically, when you're trying to categorize things, you try to understand the definitions of words so you know whether or not those things fit the definition. So when you give me examples and you are unable to give me one definition, and lactoid has to come and bail you out with the absolute steel man of your retarded rambling. It proves to anyone with a fucking IQ over 80 that you shouldn't even be in this conversation. And your wealth is a mistake of luck because you're too fucking stupid to know what a definition is.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Except even after that, I gave you 50 more, and you still haven't given.
Those are examples, not definitions. Rob, please.
Hold on.
Give me a definition. Anyone, give me one definition.
I just gave you about 5.
Everyone else, shut up. Gibbs wants my attention. Gibbs, give me one definition, not an example, a definition.
How about we go with
I understand the point. Get the fuck out of here. Are we going to do this for the next 2 hours?
I'll do this for the next 2 hours. I'll listen to Gibbs not give a definition of a word for the next 2 hours.
Rob, I will turn it over to you right now as soon as I'm done. Listen, it's going to be real quick. I'm done. I just gave you 5 examples of communism.
That's not a definition.
How about, listen, I don't have to. Is Maoism a definition of communism? It absolutely is.
It's one variant of communism, but I don't think you can describe Maoism either.
Which is exactly what I said. It was, oh, wow, I can't describe Mao. Bro, you just literally are so being
Can you define Maoism?
Can you shut the fuck up? I literally just gave you an example of a social.
An example is not a definition.
Can you shut the fuck up? Once again, every time I try. So once again, I gave you an example.
An example is not a definition.
Oh, look, shut the fuck up. So I gave you an exact example.
An example is not a definition.
Shut the fuck up.
Someone text me when we get back.
Yeah,
I'm fucking done with this.
I would like let me just finish.
It's rot, right? So
I just wanted to let me finish my sentence.
Go ahead and wrap it up, Gibbs.
Yeah, so I literally gave, this is how bad faith Connor is. Like I said in the opening, he took everything I said and then inverted it and then said that's what I stood for. Same thing now. I just gave an example. That wasn't good enough. Lactoid spoke. Then I gave him 5 more.
Because you can't define Maoism either.
Wait, Connor was bad faith. You've been attacking him on nothing that includes his arguments this entire time. It's just been his funding,
I'm
apparently.
literally 15 seconds from being done. And listen, I give him another 5 definitions, and he sits here and goes, oh, those aren't good enough. You know what this is called? This is called cope and bitch assness and bad faith. And he wants to sit here and act.
Well, Rob's gone, so I'll ask you a follow-up question. What's the definition of Maoism?
Go ahead, Rob.
What's the definition of Maoism? Sorry, Rob, you're back. Go ahead.
Rob,
we got Jimmy from the ringer over here, guys. He's a genius.
Rob with the Steel City T-shirt. Hello.
How about that?
What's up?
I get it. I get the point. You guys go back and forth, no problem. But it's like when it's the same thing over and over. Like, okay, it's been 10 minutes. We get it. All right. So let's go to some things that we're saying. Now, I could get into a specific conversation about how if pragmatism is what we're looking at, the stance of Connor and Jeb are absurd. I'll get to Jeb specifically on this. I could talk about how the corruption that they're talking about being saved by noble people like who Adam Kissinger, Bill Barr. It's ironic because like one of the things he said, Connor said, was talking about like preventing him from going after political opponents, which Connor has agreed in previous statements deserve to be gone after. Like, for example, Connor, do you think the people that illegally spied on a president for the first time in history through a FISA warrant deserve to be held to criminal account?
Yeah, the ones
Thank
who
God.
hold on. I was just going to do a minor qualification, which is the people who broke procedure in order to do the spying should basically be in prison.
Right. So thank God principal conservatives like Bill Barr stepped in and made sure that didn't occur. For example, we had a grand jury that actually recommended charges against James Comey for for taking evidence that he wasn't supposed to and intentionally sending it to a journalist. But your principal conservative, Bill Barr, stepped in and said, nah, we ain't going to do that. And that's the problem. It's not principal conservatism. I don't give a fuck about conservatism in the sense that that's not the central issue that I'm looking at. I think it's something that I am conservative and I respect conservatives. But to me, the central issue is the corruption we're seeing. And you could say, you know, notice how Connor did this shell game where he's like, well, Trump was inept. Trump was incompetent. Trump wanted to do bad things, but practically he was unable to. We have
can I give you an example?
That has been now, for fuck's sakes. Like, we just listened to you talk for quite some time.
I mean, that was Gibbs.
I read books too, so I'd like to have my piece, if that's okay. So I could go on and on examples of the corruption we see. For example, the Hunter Biden stuff that we saw attacking whistleblowers, et cetera, et cetera. The institutional corruption is immense and getting worse. And the fact they went after Trump and were successful with it and continue to be so is going to mean it's going to get more blatant and worse and worse and worse. We're going to see more censorship from these institutions on places like social media. A couple things. We can see that both Jeb and Connor, they may not be progressive, though I think if you work for progressives, you're progressive, but they're certainly acting like it. For example, the Trump derangement syndrome is so bad in Connor. Do you ever notice this? Did you ever see people that talk about race all the time? Like the people that are just like, everything's systemic racist. They always assume when you take an action that you have race forefront in your mind, and that's because they do. So if you view everything through the lens of race, no, right? Like then you also think everyone else views it through the lens of race. Connor and Jeb, at least Connor, views everything through the lens of anyone that disagrees with me must love Trump because I hate Trump. So everything's about Trump. Now, he said repeatedly that I was sucking up to Trump and saying how great Trump was. Where was that in here? In fact, I seem to remember quite the opposite. I seem to say he wasn't a real conservative. He had ineptitude. He appointed bad people. And yet Connor represents that as Rob sucking Trump's dick. And the reason he says this is because just like all the lefties that say Hunter Biden's laptop, you're just concerned about Hunter's cock. The truth is that Connor argues just like them, and he is the one that wishes that he was being deeply, deeply penetrated by Donald Trump's orange cock. That's what he wants. That's what his focus is. He focuses everything on Trump and assumes anyone that's defending against the corruption that's being levied against Trump must be supporting Trump and think he's great. That's not true. Then you have Jeb.
Hold on, I want to respond to that. That's very specific.
You'll have your chance, won't you? I read books. Please be quiet. Then you have Jeb.
Go point by point.
Then you have Jeb, right, who comes out and argues like a good little lefty or progressive as well when he says, oh, Gibbs, you don't like Nikki Haley because she's a woman. That's where he goes right out of the gate. Congratulations, Gibbs. You guys are nailing it, man. You guys are nailing it.
He literally said, when I hear Nikki Haley talk, I hear the crying of 1,000 leftist women.
So what?
That's why. And he couldn't name a single policy. He couldn't name a single policy he disagreed with. The only criticism he had was the imaginary idea that she's a Democrat plant, which has no evidence, and then his own perception that when he hears her talk, he hears the complaints of other women. So yes, he has given me evidence to come to the conclusion that he didn't vote for her because she was a woman.
He hates women. Anyways, Jeb,
I hate women.
Books,
oh my God.
I read books, so shut up.
He hates leftist women.
No, I hate women.
Right, because he reads books too. Anyways, the last thing I'll say on this is like you can see that like sort of the absurdity of this, where like Connor talks about like how intelligent he is. He's going vis-a-vis Gibbs. That's fine.
He can have that opinion. Him say that one
I'll say that. Well, he's making a point that Gibbs is uneducated and doesn't know what the fuck he talks about, and Connor does.
Hold on,
because he couldn't give a definition when asked for one.
Hold on, what's ironic though is I'm the only one with a presidential library at the school I went to with a poli-sci degree.
Yeah, you should probably go read there.
That's amazing.
I'm gonna finish this.
Try the picture books.
For your cash down there.
No, you're going to finish your list of 30 points, not your 1 point. Let's stop pretending like we're interrupting individual points. We're interrupting diatribes.
I let you interrupt, not Connor, because Connor's been interrupting the whole time and talked a lot. When you started to interrupt, I politely let you. That's
And
why I didn't.
I've been
Connor, and I
waiting.
let you. It's my own little protest. So two more points
Sure.
real quick. First point is Connor's so smart he reads books, but when it comes to the Bragg case, I saw a YouTube video. Fuck you, you hack. And the last thing I'll say is on both Connor and Jeb, they can't defend the actions that they're taking when it comes to pragmatism. Well, Connor will try. When it comes to
I literally did.
No, you can't. You argued that pragmatically, it is true that Trump would make things more conservative.
Finish,
That
please.
long-term principle would lead us to more conservatism in the long run.
You make this principled argument, and when it comes to the principle argument,
No,
I think it
principle
stops
as
you.
it relates to pragmatism.
I understand what you're saying. Pragmatically, things will get worse if we vote for Joe Biden. Anyways, last thing I'm saying is Connor is trying to be clever and try to make these arguments about how we're sucking Trump's dick and all this and that. What he wants to do is ignore from the fact that when it comes to pragmatism, we were better under Trump. And when it comes to principles, you can say whatever the fuck you want. It's all a clever deflection from the fact that you claim to care about conservative values and such, and you work for a fucking progressive organization. You took money from them because you're a fucking hack. That's why you
I
did it,
love
because you wanna
money.
be
I'm a
Chinese money.
capitalist.
That's right. You like
I
money
hate
more than your
women.
principles.
I'm racist.
You
I'm
read
a
books. You need to get
capitalist.
those
They're
books.
right
Buy
about
those
me.
books. Buy
I'm a
those
cis,
books, right?
straight,
Give that
white
money.
male who hates women and blacks. They got me. Okay, so I would like to
I'd like
respond
to-
because that was very long. So, Rob, you're right. Okay, you have not been a sycophant for Trump. So, metaphorically, you have not been sucking dick. Gibbs is the one who's been sucking dick.
Yeah, that's
You're the
true.
person
That's
in the
right.
corner guarding the door and watching. So, if anything, Gibbs is the alpha Chad male blowing fucking Trump, and you're the fucking cuckold in the fucking corner watching.
I'm glad we
Then
got that clear.
I would like to point out that the reason that you're not sucking Trump's dick is largely due to incompetence because you take a really long time to get to the point. And if that's an analogy for your diatribes, then I think you would take too long to make Trump come. Anyways,
Maybe it's an
so
analogy for the
you
veterans. That'd be
said
a good thing.
that the deep state has undermined Trump, and that is a bad thing and is evident of the corruption of the deep state. I would like to address this because while I agree with you that the deep state undermined Trump, I would like to use an example where I thought it was good to undermine Trump. So Trump wanted to do a childish withdrawal from Syria where he would just literally take the troops and leave. This was while we had cooperative agreements with people on the ground. This is while we were in active combat operations. This is while we had special forces doing work to undermine Russia, a geopolitical ally. And so what the people did is that they used TAD, which temporarily assigned duty, in order to keep troops on the ground, in order to guarantee our security commitments that we had made to our allies. And then eventually they withdrew. They did what Trump wanted. But they extended the timeline and they did it. Hold on. So anyways, so the reason why I think that is a good thing is because a hasty withdrawal is what Trump committed Biden to with Afghanistan. And we saw how big of a fucking disaster that was, where when you just pull up stakes and dip out, it not only kills, foreign-born people, which obviously I don't care about because I'm racist, but it also kills Americans. So that would be an example of Trump signing up Joe Biden for something that he wanted to do so he could give him a black eye, and it killed 13 Americans. So if Trump is a nepotistic, toddler-like fucking retard who, unfortunately for me, Gibbs is better read than Trump, then I would prefer to have Gibbs as fucking president than Donald fucking Trump.
So I'll just summarize what Connor said there. I'm okay.
He runs a successful
with the
cattle farm.
subversion. I'm okay with the subversion and lying of the president, who's the executive over.
If he's
these
an incompetent
agencies.
fucking retard who's going to get people
okay
killed,
with
yes.
these- right. Fuck you. Right. That's the answer. And
Yeah.
the truth is, at least he said that is the stance of Nikki Haley. That is the stance of Bill Barr.
You're right.
They're okay with subverting the Constitution if it means stopping Donald Trump because Orange Man bad. So because it's
Yeah, so if
Connor's
you have a
opinion-
retarded
If I have the
incompetent,
opinion-
if you have a
let
retarded
me ask
incompetent in the office, you should undermine him. Yes, that's true.
You're not there, Connor. It was Donald Trump. And so let me just ask your opinion on this. So that would mean, like, let's say that I hypothetically think that it's fucking retarded and incompetent to keep sending Ukraine weapons, and I'm in the Biden administration. I'm one of the people tasked with sending it, and so I just unilaterally decide, or maybe with some people in these institutions with me, fuck it, we're going to subvert Biden's orders. That's fine. That's the system you want. That's conservatism, right?
I mean, that's what MAGA Republicans have done.
Like, give me examples.
Yeah, basically the delay. Yes, the delayed funding for Ukraine was caused by the MAGA wing of the Republicans, and I think that those people are retarded.
You fucking idiot! That's a vote. That's the way our system works. Our system's not supposed to work because unelected bureaucrats in the State Department and in the military decide we're going to subvert the will of the people and their vote because we think the guy in charge is incompetent, so we're going to do whatever we want. That's not conservatism. Where's Burke talking about that? Can you explain it?
Yeah, I can explain it. So the military, people who are responsible for the lives and deaths of tens of thousands, if not millions of people, should follow the people's will when it comes to execution. So for instance, if Donald Trump says, I think our foreign entanglements are too large, therefore, I would like to begin withdrawals from the Middle East and North Africa, specifically Afghanistan and Syria. And then he should go to his military commanders, the people who have served, the people who didn't dodge the draft so they could fuck porn stars behind their wife's back. And he should trust them to come up with a competent plan that will minimize the deaths of foreign civilians, which again, I don't care about because I'm racist, or American service members, which I care about because I'm racist. And then they should follow that game plan, and that should be the execution. But if you have a retarded toddler-like chimpanzee fucking ass-eating dipshit in the fucking office and he says, I want troops out of Syria tomorrow because I didn't read a book and I don't know how to pronounce anarchist, then yeah, they should ignore that fucking law. I almost guarantee you, if you talk to James Mattis, he will say that exactly.
You don't fucking know.
James Mattis. No, Rob. I do know. Yeah, I do know. Do you know?
Legal system agrees.
Do you know why?
Fuck you.
Do you know why? Do you know why I know?
Literally did do that though. He abandoned the Kurds in Syria.
Do you know why I know? Do you know why I know? Because the selling point of the Trump presidency for me after he won was the fact that he was going to appoint General James Mattis to his Secretary of Defense. Okay, hold on. This is really funny. This is actually really funny. So James Mattis, you're making fucking memes. James Mattis has been celebrated as one of the most successful warrior poets of the past century. And you're fucking yes. Yes.
No
yes,
shit.
A man who is intelligent and has killed people. Yes, an intelligent man. Hold on, Rob, stop interrupting because this is important. Rob, this is important. So I want you to actually listen and I want your audience to listen. James Mattis is one of the most intelligent people who has dropped bodies on the face of the fucking planet. And so when James Mattis leaves the Trump administration, effectively saying that Trump is such a fucking retard that he can no longer work for him anymore. Yes, I read his letter. I watched his interviews and I changed my opinion based off of somebody I respect. You know who I don't respect? A man who dodged the draft, talks shit about the military, cheats on his wife, cheats on his taxes, and does fraudulent business left, right, and fucking center. I don't respect that man.
Wait, hold on. Let me. I want to address that specifically because I think
yes, of course he did.
Of course he did.
I just have.
I'm sure, but like I think
George
this
Bush
is actually
served in the Air National Guard. He did a little bit more than fucking Trump.
God.
He knows how to fly a fucking jet. I'm like, your pussy ass fucking boyfriend. You
brother.
Shouldn't finish that sentence.
I think this actually what was just said really like underlines I think the like one of the besides getting paid like the motivation.
I love money.
For being
I thought we were capitalists here. What the fuck is your job?
Orange man bad.
He's also a lawyer.
Hold on. When Rob says orange man bad, like there's that's one way of putting it.
Yes.
But I do think that like when the reasons that come to mind when you're angry about this man is you talk about the fact that he dodged the draft, you talk about the fact that he cheated on his wife. What an asshole! While I am saying like, and the people who are in support of me here are saying, what about the Supreme Court? What about the laws that are going to get passed? What about this policy? What about the people that are going to be put into power? But he cheated on his wife, though.
Yeah,
Right.
no, but
Is it the
literally
policies?
spent
Is it the
10
policies,
minutes.
or is it the fact that he's an asshole?
I literally
Lactoid,
spent
that's
10
because the
minutes
rest-
talking about policy.
Yeah,
I literally
the rest of your group does not accept the reality that Trump was a more progressive policymaker than anybody in the history of the GOP. He
Who the fuck?
pushed more.
Wait, that's
he-
not true.
He
That's bullshit,
executively
Ron, and who said it?
declared more gun policy than Obama and Biden have ever passed, dude. They don't like you guys can say you accept it in name, but you
Yeah,
will
that
still
was
fight
bullshit.
for this man like
Are
he
you-
is
are you-
paying your salary.
But hold on, wait. I know you don't believe this, though, or in the sense of I was gonna ask
believe
you.
it.
I was gonna ask you. Do you really think that Trump is less conservative, or less conservative than Biden? But I know you don't believe
No.
that. You do.
He's
think that
not
Trump's
less
more
conservative. The issue is in very big ticket fucking issues, he is dangerous. He is a Trojan horse. He is a populist Trojan horse. And we all had this idea. He promised all of us conservative policy is what is hiding inside of this horse. Conservative policy is what is hiding inside of this horse.
He ever
Let me
claimed
push this Trojan horse to independence.
Jeb, hold on. What did the big like lasting things from the Trump presidency? Roe v. Wade got overturned.
No,
Right?
here's the
Affirmative action got limited.
Lactoid. If any
Captain,
other
order secretary.
Republican, I am saying support other
Any
Republicans.
other
If
Republican.
any other Republican was in office, they would have done that. And
I
any Republican would have
voted
beaten
for
Hillary
Ron
Clinton.
DeSantis. I voted for Ron DeSantis in the
Yes,
primary.
but
Okay.
again, Lactoid. I am not going to vote for Trump for things I can get from any other Republican if other Republicans are better in every other way.
They're not
That's
in
the
ballot.
problem.
They're not in the
When we
ballot,
bring
Jeb. They're not in the
They were
fucking
in the ballot. The issue is we have so many Trump dick sucker fucking jerk offs who will worship him and defend him no matter what he does. So in a fucking
Oh,
election,
God, no, that's not
stop
what's
it.
happening.
No, stop it. No, shut the fuck up, you retard. During the elections, every single thing about Hillary Clinton's character was of material value. But when it comes to primary elections, oh, you only don't like Trump because he cheats on his wife? You only don't like Trump because he defrauded with his charity organization? You only don't like Trump because he's a disgusting fuck? Why was it relevant when Hillary was a disgusting fuck? Why was it relevant when Hillary was a cardboard fucking box to talk to? Why was it relevant when she
indicative
was
of their
pandering
character.
to every
I
Because
wasn't doing
character
that.
matters, but I understand.
It doesn't matter, Lactoid.
Lactoid, you just want.
Someone else.
When
You're
Donald
paying other
Trump
people
is
to
in the
be Connor.
fucking when Donald Trump is in the primary, we're supposed to only focus on policy, except we're supposed to only focus on the policy that any other Republican candidate would have passed. Then why do we even have Trump there? If the only good things about him could be
not-
accomplished by
It's
somebody
it's
else,
blatantly
why do we
untrue.
need him here?
Because he has the nomination. When Gibbs said before that if he was like the candidate running against Biden, like maybe we should vote for him. I'm sort of there almost, right? Because at least he's going to be picking the justices off the Federalist Society list. At least he's going to be selecting like the cabinet. Like here, you guys really think that Biden's ruling as opposed to the people that he chooses? These presidents are the reason they're important is because the people they select to surround them. That's why they're important, right? Because
the issue is every person that Trump selected to be around him, other than the Supreme Court, which he
Hates
can't
him.
remove, fucking despises him. So here's my problem, and you're making my argument
think he's
for
an
why
idiot.
living and voting on principle is the best thing long term for conservatism. Is because if we did that this whole time, Trump wouldn't be the only nominee available to do all of these things that every other Republican would have
problem
done.
is-
We would have Republicans that would also pass national anti-squatter laws. We would have
No.
Republicans who would also allow parents
Yes.
more individual influence on their
Autist,
school
Ron.
boards.
Jeb, hey, wait, Jeb, and one last response, and then the people who've been talking for a long time can talk again.
Sure.
The one thing I want to say is, look, I really empathize with, as somebody who voted for the Libertarian Party the past two elections, I really empathize with your position in the sense of, fuck these guys, I'm going to do what's right, I'm going to vote for the good candidate. And if you're not in a swing state, do that. Vote for the third party, vote for the better candidate, that's great. But we've lost every time. And Trump went to the Libertarian Convention and
What do you
told
mean
them straight to their faces.
Here we
The
go.
Libertarians!
Oh, libertarians.
We fucking lost!
The Republicans are more concerned. Wait, you retards. Right, they're not in the ballot anymore, you fucking idiot.
They're not in the ballot because of people like you who will make infinite excuses for the
Yeah.
worst candidate. For the worst candidate. Joe Biden won because Trump was running.
No,
Joe Biden won because Trump was his opponent. You dumb fuck. No one liked Joe Biden. They just hated Trump.
I'm just shaking my hand. I'll be right. He's on the ballot because you and Connor. That's why he's on the ballot. You want to know why?
He's not. He won because Trump is the easiest Republican opponent to beat. That's why.
Jeb, if I was a fucking wanting Trump to fuck me up the ass because I just focus about him nonstop because Orange Man bad, I'd want to interrupt as well when someone more intelligent than you that's probably read more books and doesn't get his case law just from a YouTube video is talking. So the reason people like you
also read the case law. You're making a gay point again.
The reason.
Also, yeah, why are you talking to me with your Connor disses? You can't.
Legal Eagle's a little bit. Legal Eagle is biased, by the way.
Gibbs has been waiting to get in. Rob pretty much already did his thing.
Is he going to say anything that's not dumb?
I didn't get to say shit. I just got to make fun of Jeb. Leave Gibbs go, and then I'll go after him.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty ironic that Richard Spencer's Down syndrome brother is going to sit here and try to call any of us retarded whenever he's going to sit here and go, oh, hey, bro, I'm going to vote for a guy that's sitting here going to put all the progressive policies in there. Yeah, I get it. Trump's a 90s.
Did you Google a definition for socialism yet? I'll wait. But you had Google for like a half hour.
30-minute discussion.
Hey, listen, Papa. I was good. I waited my turn.
I'll wait.
All right, you just wait. You can come roast me afterwards. We'll get to you in a minute. Listen,
okay.
After Richard Spencer's brother, and that's never been going anywhere with his life. This guy is upset. Clearly, he's with his Trump derangement fears. Trump's so bad. But then he's going to turn around and vote for a literal fucking mafia family that fucking allegedly diddles kids. We've seen him smell them. We've seen his fucking son smoke crack, have guns, and suck dick, and that's okay while having access to classified documents. But hey, Trump,
we're talking about him, right?
Hey, shh. Wait,
I was making sure who you're talking to. I'm not voting for Biden.
Listen,
I'm not voting for Biden.
Well, thank God. Thank God.
I said that like 30 times. Can you not listen to what other people are saying?
You said nothing in your
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. You're wasting your vote on a third party. I get it. That's okay. Listen, you're slightly.
No, I'm not voting for president. Something that'll piss you off even more. I'm voting for the props and my local reps. What matters anyway.
Gibbs, finish.
I can't. Well, I can't because y'all keep talking. Listen, at least you're more principled than homie over here from DeVry trying to fucking sell us on.
It was Valencia.
Yeah, whatever.
Son of a bitch.
The point that I'm making here is this guy's going to sit here and say, oh, none of our principled, well, whatever. And then have the audacity with the Trump derangement syndrome to sit here and say, oh, anything Biden's going on. All right, he might not be fighting for Biden, but Connor, Counterpoints, and Tiberius Tankery over here are. They're over here sitting, getting on the bandwagon, going, choo-choo, Biden to victory. Not only are they helping Biden get the victory, they're pulling a weak wolves in sheep's clothing thing, saying the Republicans, saying, look, we are
define republicanism.
We are modern Republicans who are fed of Trump. We're going to go and jump sides, and not only are we going to jump sides,
sounds like Trump can't win undecided voters.
Hold on, we're going to jump into the progressive camp, and we're going to sell our souls down the river for the next Nazi government. That's okay. We're fine with that.
Define Nazism.
Hey, you know what? What we're going to do is we're going to say all these things and ask for definitions because we're going to cry because I read big books and all this bullshit. The point is that I'm making, y'all are not principled at all, and it's very apparent that by all these bad faith arguments that y'all make, that y'all are clearly just suffering from Trump derangement syndrome.
Define bad faith.
Y'all are going to sit here and bitch about him fucking around on somebody when this other guy has a kid who's sucking dick and smoking crack, and then having the same kid sell secrets to Ukraine. But hey, don't worry about that. No big deal. Hey, the Trump trial's fair, but don't worry about the Biden shit. That needs to be suppressed. Don't worry about it. No, what we call that is a double standard and bad faith. And guess what? That's what you are.
Okay, so no. May I go really quick? So I would like to say that so I actually do believe in conservative principles. Like I think that I'm not a Democrat because the root word of Democrat, because I can define it, is demos, the people. I don't trust people. And so what I would do is I would make the voting requirement the ability to read Baba Black Sheep. And the good news is that fucking Rob would pass and Gibbs would fail. So, sorry, Rob, continue.
Okay, so the point I'm going to try to make is I don't think Connor and Jeb Tan are fucking debating me. or Lactoid or even Gibbs. I don't think they are, because they keep saying shit. All you people do is defend Trump. You defend
No, I said
his
you were
character.
sweeping.
Everything.
I said you were in the
about
corner
Hitler's thing.
sweeping, guarding the door.
The truth is this, right? I'll be brief about this, right? The reason that Trump is there again is you. It's you two.
No, it's not.
And it's people like you. Yes, it is the Orange Man Bad TDS people. Want to know why? Because
You have
if you
TCS.
weren't Orange Man Bad, if you weren't Orange Man Bad TDS, you would have supported the obvious prosecution, investigation, and disclosure to the entire American public about the authoritarianism of unelected bureaucrats that attacked Donald Trump his entire presidency.
I do.
And that would have hurt him in an election?
Please.
That would have
let
gotten
me
him
finish.
not to run again?
Please,
What are you
let me
saying?
finish, Jeb. I know it's tough when you're such on a fucking, unprincipled
Just remember, your
position
point
here.
was the reason he's running this year is because we didn't attack the people attacking him. That's the reason
Which is
he's
funny
running this year.
because also I'm pretty sure
That
you'll
is the
find
point.
content, at least for me and maybe for Jebtan, talking specifically about Crossfire Hurricane and talking specifically about how Hunter Biden is getting a fucking pass. And on top of that, we were gaslit for a fucking
Yep.
year by Democrats.
I'm
And you're
officially
acting
interrupting
like
you
I'm
fuckers.
sweeping for fucking
Look.
Hunter? Go fuck yourself.
All right, so I'm officially interrupting you two every time you talk the rest of the night. Seems to be the norm, so we'll go with that now. So have fun with what's about to occur.
Grief, I'll start a minute timer.
And I'm smarter than both you combined, so we'll fucking deal with it.
I
The
don't think
reason
so.
is this, because you say that you're like, well, we're against Crossfire Hurricane, and yet you defend the, and I'm quoting, principled conservatives that were there as a bulwark against Trump. Right, those principled conservatives that made sure that no one was held accountable. Want to know why?
Except
Trump
for the
didn't
one
win
who
in
caught a felony
2020?
conviction,
You
right?
have to- it's okay, I'll just talk over you.
Yeah, because you said something that was wrong.
The rest of the night, right? What, okay,
You
what
said
did I
something
say
that was
Go
wrong.
ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
What was
There was the
what did I
person
say was wrong?
who got, there was the person who got caught forging the fucking email, and they caught it. I'm pretty sure they caught a fucking felony, and they had like deferred judgment on it, and they're no longer working for the FBI. So while I think that's a slap on the wrist, I would like more to happen. That you just said nothing happened.
Right. Kevin Kleinsmith getting a slap on the wrist, having to pay a fine, and only losing his license to practice law for a year, and then being put back in where he could make cushy jobs at a cushy job at a lobbying firm. Right. I don't consider that holding to accountable almost everyone at the
What
top
would
level
you
of
like
the
to-
FBI
what
and
would you
other-
like to
Go ahead,
happen?
keep interrupting. Go ahead. I'm
I'm
not
asking
gonna
you
stop.
a question. What would you like to
I think
happen?
you've been a good moderator, but I assure you, I'm going to talk rapid speed now, nonstop until the rest of the debate. You're going to have to mute me because fucking Connor and Jebtan can't stop. So I'll
I'm
begin to talk
interrupting
now
you with a
rapid stop, and
question.
You won't be able to stop. I'm just going to talk over them. I can be louder. It's no problem.
Because
the
I'm
point
interrupting
trying
you
to
with
make
a
is
question.
Because
Can
these
we
people
not?
continually supported people that they claim are the bulwark of these institutions that were good to stop Trump, instead of pointing out that these people should have been aggressively prosecuting the weaponized system against them. That's why Trump lost in 2020, why he's running again in 2024. And that's also why Trump is so popular. That's why it was difficult in the primary when I was arguing to people like, listen, I actually think Ron DeSantis would do more against the corruption. I think you should probably support Ron DeSantis. You want to know what the big argument was from people back then? Fuck that. I'm not going to leave the system that went after Trump and is now going to label him and investigate him as a felon over and over again. I'm not going to let them tell me I can't vote for this man just because they hate them. And Connor's going to sit here and pretend that he didn't just say my entire fucking argument, which was he's fucking Orange Man bad. He's literally supporting the subversion of the Constitution as long as in his belief Trump did something stupid, so it's okay. I can't think of a fucking analogy that I could make about Connor that's more evident than that. He fucking hates Trump. The same argument could be said. They could say, why wouldn't Connor support Crossfire Hurricane then? They knew how fucking stupid Trump was, so they had to stop him at all costs. Fuck you two. You have Trump derangement syndrome. You're perfectly fine with the fact that this weaponization occurred against him and is continuing to weaponize. And that's why Trump and his people are going to continue to win these nominations, because people like you cheer for the corruption, just like you are with this Bragg case. You cheer for obvious corruption against them, which means that his supporters are going to double down over and over and over again. Whereas if you would have supported actual investigations and criminal accountability, then the reason to vote for Trump would have no longer never been there, and we could be talking about someone running against him that was more principally conservative. But you fucking TDS dick worshippers that dream about Trump plowing you in the fucking ass nonstop, so much so you're for generals subverting him. You hate him so much, you can't let it go. You can't. Oh, it's all justified. It's okay. I didn't like Crossfire Hurricane, but hey, there was accountability. Kevin Kleinsmith got a slap on the wrist.
Rob,
fuck
you,
you fucking
I
idiot.
would like to ask
For you, Kai, I'll stop.
How much do you
How
hate
many
Trump?
books has he read? That's what
How much do I hate Trump? On a scale of 1 to 10, probably like a 7.5. So, all right. So anyway, so I wrote down a few questions and points for Rob's rant. So I would like to ask 2 questions and then I would like to make 3 points. So I'll make a point, 2 questions, 2 points. So we have established, I know that we're all playing out our various homosexual fantasies together in this role-playing debate. I did do it, but it's mostly because I wanted to see Gibbs's reaction when I called him gay. So anyways, so we have established that you are not sucking Trump's dick, and you are not fucking Trump, and you are not being fucked by Trump. Okay. You are the sweeper. You're in the corner. You're guarding the door to make sure nobody comes in. Okay. In this metaphor and a homosexual analogy.
The fluffer.
I'm not.
Okay. That's the first point. Okay.
Yeah,
now
fluffer.
the 2 questions and then 2 points. Okay. Question. So what part of the Constitution was violated? My answer, presuming your answer, would be the spirit of the 4th Amendment was violated, but I would like to hear your answer. Then the second question is, what should have happened to whom and what consequences should they suffer? So I'd like to hear answers to those 2 questions. If you want to write them down or if you want me to say them again, I can. Now, one of the most annoying and gay and retarded things that fucking happens with Trump sycophants is they always use TDS and Orange Man Bad as a talking point. I think that Trump sycophants have TCS, which is Trump Cope Syndrome. It means that no matter what the fuck he does, they always have an excuse for why he's an incompetent, retarded fucking buffoon, but actually he's a 4D chess playing fucking genius who deserves to be in office again instead of a fucking toddler who needs some colorful blocks to play with. Last point, and then I'll shut up. Doubling down on a retarded bet doesn't make you an awesome contrarian. It makes you a fucking retard.
Also, hey, by the way, you really missed an easy layup there on the insult. You could have gone with Trump cock syndrome instead of whatever you just said. You just epic failed.
Thanks for the advice. I will give you $50 if you take one of those books off of your shelf and you read us a whole page. We'll do the 50-cent Floyd Mayweather shit.
Yeah,
I'll give you $50.
Would you like an end of the death? What do you want? You want a 40?
Can we get a screenshot of the page first, and then can we hear you do it? As a matter of fact, I'll do this post-recorded.
30 seconds, and I'm going to pick a really good
No. What we'll do is we can do this post-recorded. You can snapshot the screen. You can send us a video or audio recording, and I will send you some Brianna Wu progressive victory dollars. Okay?
Wow,
hey, that's
Brianna.
awesome.
I would love to see you enunciate a word.
I'll answer the questions in order. All right. First question was, what part of the Constitution's violated? Now, I'll admit to having to search the specific section, but the general thesis that the president is the chief commander of the military. So the section, I would say, after looking it up, I didn't know this. I did look up the specific section. Article 2, Section 2, Clause 1. The president shall be commander-in-chief of the Army and Navy of the United States and the militia of the several states when called into actual service of the United States. It is clear that the thrust of what the founding fathers entailed was—
May I ask a follow-up question on that? Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, no. You might be answering it, so I want you to finish.
Okay, so it's clear that the thrust of that is the president is the commander-in-chief. And that means unless he gives an unlawful order, he is ultimate. It would be like violating a general's order. Like a private in the army.
Are we talking about Crossfire Hurricane or are we talking about Syria? What are we talking about?
We were talking about Syria. Specifically, when I said he's the commander-in-chief of the military, you asked me, I thought, what says that he has that power? So what I'm saying is it would be that he is the top. He's like the general's general. So if a private in the military says, I think this general's answer or argument is stupid or his plan is stupid, I'm going to go against it. What do you think?
Can I give you? No, well, I mean, I was actually in the military, so I can answer your question. Right. So one of the things this is going to be a little bit of a rant. I'm sorry. I'm apologizing in advance. In the Marine Corps, in particular, our culture pushes autonomy down to the individual. That means that corporals and lance corporals and the people who are closest to the ground are often the people making the decisions. The reason why is because commanders in chief, generals, majors, lieutenants, colonels, all those people who are not on the ground, oftentimes they have retarded expectations about what's possible. And when they give a fucking order, they can get people killed. So oftentimes what military commanders, because they didn't dodge the draft, what they know to do is they know to give orders, but then they know to let their subordinates do best how to execute those orders. So, answering your question, if the commander-in-chief says, I want to withdraw from Syria as quickly as possible, and the generals say, sir, your timetable of 2 weeks or a month is not possible without fucking over our allies and killing some of our soldiers and men, I expect those generals to undermine that decision if the commander-in-chief comes back and says, I don't give a fuck if you kill a bunch of people on the ground. I don't give a fuck if you fuck over our allies. Withdraw anyways. I don't give two flying fucks about an evil, incompetent leader.
Right. And so that's based on your feeling of who's competent.
That's not based off of my feeling. That's based off of my training and experience and reading various books.
Well, it's based on your feeling on those generals having the competence and like, for example, I could make a credible case that the invasion of Syria and the fact that troops were there helped lead to the conflict we're seeing now with Russia. This is the plot. Just so we're real, since he went in a little rant about his expertise being in the Marines, let me tell you what Connor's saying so self-evidentiary true, that we had to stay in Syria. And it was incompetence of the highest magnitude for Trump to pull out. So it was okay that the generals disobeyed his order and lied to him. Here's what's going on. See, we're told Trump criticizes NATO. Now I'm assuming Connor likes NATO. We're told NATO's real good and we have to be there. And we're also told that we have to be in Syria. And the reason we're in Syria is because we have to fight ISIS. That means that we have to ally with al-Nusra, who's a terrorist group, an Islamic terrorist group that we've allied with. It also means that we're allied with the Kurds and we're allied with anti-Assad fighters. Now, Assad is also fighting ISIS, but we're against him because we think he's a bad dude, so we're fighting him too. Meanwhile, our NATO ally that's on the border, the Turks, where we've stationed nuclear weapons, the reason we're told, when you heard Connor say we couldn't just leave the Kurds there, it's not because he's worried or we were told that they're worried about ISIS killing the Kurds. It's not because we're worried about Assad killing the Kurds. The reason we're worried about who's going to kill the Kurds, it's fucking Turkey. The country that we've stationed nuclear weapons, because the argument is our allies, the Turks, that were alliance bound to defend if they're invaded, they'll commit genocide against our ally, the Kurds. And so now we have to stay in Syria in perpetuity, not to fight back against Russia, not to fight Assad, but because if we leave, our allies, the Kurds, will have genocide committed to them against our allies, the Turks. And Connor's argument, now, when you tried to tell people like Connor why this expansionism and having troops on the border of Russia and other hostile nations was going to escalate the situation, no. It's good that we're there.
Rob, wrap this up because you said something wrong and I would like to address it.
I will wrap it up at my own leisure. I've read books, so we'll allow you to address it.
Okay, but I've read books too. I've read other books.
I don't believe it.
I'm also racist and sexist.
I have also read books, just to be clear.
I don't believe it either. Only But go ahead. You can answer whatever. I forget where I was
not only do I think the Turks are duplicitous fucks because of their history, I also think they're duplicitous fucks because I'm racist. Okay, so that's number one. Let's get that out of the way. Number two, the protection of the Kurds is not exclusively the only goal of special forces in the area. That's fucking stupid. And when you say, hold on, what's that?
Your argument was it was bad because we left our ally, the Kurds. That's what you're
because they fought alongside us in order to achieve geopolitical aims that we agreed.
That's fair. You can say that.
So hold on. Okay. So the Kurds, if I had a Kurdish friend, if I had a cell phone in order to call the Kurds, I would say, don't trust the United States of America. We've fucked you over twice already, so prepare for us to fuck you a third time. That's what I would tell my Kurdish friends, okay? However, if there's special forces... You're right, because I'm racist. Anyways, so special forces on the ground were operating in eastern Syria in order to take out ISIS cells and also to undermine the government of Bashir al-Assad. Now, you're saying that we had to work with al-Nusra, which is a cousin to al-Qaeda, and we had to fucking work with the Kurds, and we had to do this, and we had to do that. Here's the thing. You can want multiple people to lose who have contradictory interest. So you might support one faction to fight another faction because both factions will become weaker as a result. That is something that you can do if you're a CIA case fucking officer. A book that I read, The Art of Intelligence by Henry Crumpton, actually references how you can undermine factions by making them weaker by playing against each other. So you saying, hey, Connor, it doesn't make any sense. We should want one faction to win. That's an ahistorical, apolitical, militaristic fucking take. It's dumb.
Okay, I'll respond to it. It's not. What it illustrates is Connor's argument that this is so self-evident is bullshit. Now, the argument he gave...
I didn't say it was self-evident. I explained it to you.
You didn't explain it. The argument he made that it was so self-evident that we couldn't pull out and it was justified of the generals disobeying a direct order was because the Kurds would be killed. And I made the same argument.
I didn't say that. You said that.
That's what you said. You want to go back to the tape? You
said I said fucking over your allies is a bad idea. Yeah.
Who are you? You said he wanted to abandon.
We also had the Free Syria Army, you illiterate dumb fuck.
You said, what do you think, Tiberius?
You're not illiterate. I take that back. I take that back, and you're not dumb. You're not dumb. You're not illiterate. You're just a sweeper. You just sweep.
I'll just talk all of you. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to cover you the whole time. So what we're going to talk about is the argument that he seems to be making here. I'm making the point that the argument.
That's what I want to hear. Take
Gibbs. Please, you can give up your time to speak when you want Tiberius.
Yeah, but you can back. Listen, Papa, you're on my side. You're right. You're 100% right. But I got to tell you something. It's been more effective just to say books than fucking yell the 30 minutes that you've been yelling.
Has it? Do you think a lot of people have come your way since saying books?
Yeah, I mean, I've got like 30 followers. I've got some bunch of stuff.
Gibbs,
I'm winning.
Gibbs, if you want, fuck, we'll have a little this side on this side violence. You've been a detriment in the past panel and this one.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Ron. I have dominated this panel. I'm sorry.
Define socialism, Gibbs.
You've right.
Define socialism. So Jesus,
I want to ask Tiberius.
Right, just illustrated that
within a civil war. It's crazy.
Yes, you just illustrated my CIA point.
Way too much fun. So Tiberius,
wait, why am I having too much fun? This is great. Like, what are you talking about?
All right. I don't even know on what vector to actually attack this. I am like the polar opposite of Rob. We have very good reasons not to like agree with each other or like each other. I'm like the most pro-institutionalist person on this panel. He's the most anti-institutionalist. We're not going to agree on shit. Like, if he's the kind of guy that's like, hey, look, you're not a Republican. I feel the same way about him. I don't want him in the party. He doesn't want me. His side's winning right now, right? They're winning the pot or the votes to get the nominations. So I either got to fucking sit here and just not vote or pound sand and go vote for somebody else. Well, it's so bad. I just want to go vote for somebody else. The question is, Rob, do you have enough people on your side to get across that finish line? If you do, great. If you don't, well, then you got to come back to me in 2025 and say, okay, dude, what can I do to get you on the team?
Okay, well, I'll respond to this real quick, then I'm going to answer Connor's point. Do you think there are more diehard MAGA voters in the Republican Party voting or more diehard anti-MAGA voters voting in the Republican Party?
It doesn't matter if it's split. Yeah, if it's split 70-30, you still need the 30 to win the general.
Right, well, you'll still need the 70 to win the general next time for you, won't you?
Yeah, that's why I'm fucking you over. So
you only the 70 to win the nomination in the primary.
That's right. This and is so the argument you're making is true, but like you're literally defending things like, well, not you specifically, but your side's defending things like Trump's an incompetent fucking moron and all of his people are just dick suckers, and even people like me on here that are saying like, I'm not even defending Trump. I would have voted for Vivek and DeSantis over Trump. A bunch of just defending Trump. You're holding the broom, sweeping up the corruption. So you're going to lose.
We said you're sweeping by standing in the corner.
Okay, anyways, the point then to answer Connor's point. So his argument now, I was just making the simple point that it is not self-evident that the withdrawal from Syria was a bad thing. I think there are plenty of arguments why being in Syria and being in many other countries around the world militaristically is leading to bad outcomes. He says, no, sometimes when I talk about our allies, NATO, which by the way, Trump criticized NATO, but the same generals tell us how important that is too, this military alliance. So when
is NATO not important?
Because Trump was
wait. Those criticisms, wait. The criticisms of NATO were one of the, I think, most fair foreign policy commentary that Trump has made. Like, it is absolutely true that you have these other countries that are not taking up their share that they agreed to. Yeah, and so like you guys remember when he did that, though,
itself
right? Well, like when Trump, Yeah, I understand. Sure. And what I get that. But when Trump criticized them saying, hey, guys, like, you got dirt poor ass fucking countries like Greece that are pulling more than their weight, right? And then you have very wealthy countries like Germany that are not anywhere close to what they've agreed to. This is kind of ridiculous. You guys should be, pulling more of your weight. The response to that from like the media was, he hates NATO. This is ridiculous. Of course, we should be doing more.
But the issue is his own supporters were also having the same response and saying, you NATO-loving fucking cucks, loving NATO and all them.
No. So his defenders, Trump supporters, supported Trump's comments on NATO. Any reasonable person should support his comments on NATO. But I feel as though a lot of people couldn't support his comments on NATO because of the person who was making those comments on NATO. Because it was Trump, and he dodged the draft, and he cheated on his wife. So obviously he must be wrong about NATO too.
Can I respond?
I agree with his criticisms on NATO, but among his followers, after he made those criticisms, support for NATO as an institution dropped. His own supporters don't actually care what Trump has to say.
Support for NATO should drop until they pay their fair share.
Treat me when I try to talk, so I'll just talk.
Anyone on the panel, Rob?
I don't think
that's anyone on the panel.
Probably is. So what? I'm not interrupting people like you guys are.
You necessarily have to be worth interrupting or interrupting other people if you're talking more than everybody else.
It's not true.
Tiberius was trying
that
to
is true.
Something, and then Gibbs, and then Rob, if you have something to add, and we're about to be over time, so we'll get an overview. Ty, what were you going to say?
Yeah, so like I actually approved of this. It's one of the reasons I voted for Trump in 2020 was the fact that he was very critical on NATO in a way that I wanted to see, that no one had fucking said, right? It's like, hey, look, NATO really is a bunch of free riders. Context matters, though. That was on purpose. We literally told them have low defense spending all the way up until like 2012, and then we actually gave them a demand. The 2% was never a mandate.
No,
it never was actually.
No, they agreed to it. Wait. No.
Obligation.
It was a contractual obligation. It was a mandate. There just wasn't any teeth behind it. There wasn't anything that would punish these countries who didn't comply with it. But they agreed to it. And a lot of countries, even poor as fuck countries like Greece, who has been under how many fucking financial crises now? Like they're totally fucking terrible with money. That whole country. But they're still meeting their obligation. The UK is meeting its obligation. But then you have these incredibly wealthy countries like Austria, Germany, Italy, like they're not trying. They don't care.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely was a mandate. It just was no enforcement mechanism. And Trump was trying to apply an enforcement mechanism. The issue is Trump's supporters engage less accurately than his detractors do with what he says. They care about looking the part of a Trump supporter. So when they read Trump says NATO bad, they say NATO bad. They don't give a fuck. They're not looking to see if Germany is promising to up their contributions to the 2% of their GDP. They're looking for when is Trump going to say that other countries are.
I think I see the problem, Jeb. I agree with you that we are all everybody here is perfectly valid and probably should criticize specific people who are like cultish sycophants for politicians, and they absolutely do exist for Trump. I'm not going to deny that. That is not the same thing. Saying, hey, look at these fucking crazies. That's not the same thing as saying, well, I'm just not going to vote for him because he's not, because he's not conservative, or because I've waited and he's so much of an asshole. At the end of the day, it does seem to me like you guys are valuing.
Sound invalid. It is also sound invalid to say.
Asshole.
But yeah,
it seems to me. Hold on, real quick. It seems to me that you guys value like his assholery more than you value the actual practical policy applications. Right. And I'm a policy nerd, right? Like no. I'm always thinking about policy. These people are fucking figureheads who put people around them that actually get shit done. That's my position on this. But you guys can't get over the fact that he's like fucking weird and he says
I can get over it. My issue is
he's
I am not thinking of politics and pragmatism as just the next 4 fucking years. I am thinking about the fact that we are looking down the pipeline of a possibility of another Biden presidency that would likely elicit a response vote toward an actual conservative. And the long-term effects that are pretty irrefutable in every part of life, and this is also a conservative principle, which is that if you act and vote and whatever out of principle, over time, you will move the people around you closer toward those principles than if you take short-term wins at the cost of the long term. Trump is a short-term win in this election at the cost of the long term because you are banking almost your entire point so far on the idea that a Supreme Court justice dies and he replaces him instead of Biden.
That's the main one. There's other appointments as well. There's other appointments as well.
But here's the issue: is Trump, in terms of lasting policy, does very little relative to most other conservative policy makers. And so when I look at Ron DeSantis absolutely fucking killing it in legislation, I would rather increase the odds of another Republican getting elected through people having to suffer out under another Biden presidency than I would have Trump come in and be exactly what he's always
No.
been.
2020.
I love you guys, but can we do outros?
Who's winning the primary in 2028? Trump versus DeSantis. Who's winning the primary in 2028? DeSantis or Trump?
I think DeSantis, after Trump loses to Biden twice in a row. Yes.
No, that's not what happens. What happens is Trump doesn't win. Biden wins.
You don't know that.
2028.
No.
I don't know for
If
sure.
Biden
Maybe
wins,
Trump. Maybe you're right. Yeah,
2028 will be
maybe Trump dies. But if Trump lives,
his reputation on being a winner, and if he loses twice in a row to the worst Democrat candidate possible, he will not be able to bank himself.
No, because if he loses, it's the deep state. It's part of the narrative.
60-40 with Nikki Haley this election, dude. If he loses again to Biden, he's fucked. He went 60-40 with Haley this election.
Hey, wait, hold on, real quick. Jeb, if you're wrong on this, let's say Biden does win. And then, let's say by one vote in your fucking swing state or whatever the fuck, and it turns out that
California, so I'm not a swing state.
Okay, then why am I trying to convince? Never mind. Jesus Christ.
You know I live in California. We talked about this.
4 years from now, he'd eat shit. He wouldn't admit his mistake. He wouldn't. If
I
Trump
absolutely would.
loses
I'm
and
the
he
most principled person here. I'm getting shit on for my principles. I'm the most principled person here.
Outro.
It's okay.
So
Trump will be
you're
dead in
saying
4
your outro.
years.
Sure, yeah. What order are we doing outros in?
So I guess I'll
Do.
yeah, just in order. All right, I'm gonna combine what I was gonna say with my outro. So Rob, you can choose to engage with this in your outro if you want to. I think you're gonna disagree at first and then agree. So I think we disagree on how the military should be used. I think we disagree on maybe the fundamental ideas of how we should be using our military. I'm a big fan of the superpower. I want to take other people's shit. You would seem to want to bring people back. That's fine. I know we disagree, but you know what you and I haven't done. You and I both recognize that we're different forms of conservatism, but we're still actual conservatisms on the points that matter. We can find some kind of compromise that works for ourselves. The difference between that and what's happening here is we have people like Counterfacts and Take Curious D who are sit here and pretend to be Republicans, and then they turn out to be Richard Spencer's Down syndrome little brother husband, like a homie over here, that want to advocate for policies that are absolutely idiotic while calling everybody else retarded and saying that they're Trump derangement syndrome, fearing people that just want to suck his dick. But that's not true. We're just fed up and we want to find something that's not progressive leftism. And listen, the answer to that progressive leftism is Papa Gibbs. That's your answer right now. Absolute capitalism all the time. We're going to make money. We're going to take other countries' shit. If you like what you've heard today, come find me. Twitch.tv/Admiral Gibbs. Thanks for everybody for having me. It's been real fun. It's been interesting. And if you ever want to come try to do roast battles, we also host roast battles on some nights on my channels. And I think y'all might perform slightly better than y'all performed tonight because it was fucking terrible with all y'all's big book reading, learning, and shit. It was awful. All right. Anyway, go on. Y'all be right.
Connor.
Okay, Gibbs, I rescind my reading a page argument because I realize that it's not about the reading that I'm worried about. It's more about comprehension.
Got it. No,
Yeah. So I need you to define socialism for me. So if you do that, I'll give you $50. So anyways, so criticizing NATO, just putting this as a part of my outro, is based. Getting your allies to carry their weight within an alliance is based. What is not based is simping for the fucking opposition. Okay? What's not based is making excuses for authoritarian regimes. What's not based is saying that you wish you could have the love and all the bullshit that fucking authoritarian leaders have, because basically it makes you sound like a fucking narcissistic, psychopathic, fucking asshole retard. And I know that Lactoid's counterpoint was that, oh, You just don't like his character. You don't like that he cheated on his wife. You don't like that he has unethical business practices. You don't like that he's an asshole. You don't like that he's abrasive. No. The criticisms of his personality are indications of how he's going to govern. What is his character? And when you look at the 4 years of Trump, he wasn't able to build consensus. He wasn't able to win people or influence them. He wasn't able to execute as the executive branch effectively. And on top of that, all of his allies, the people who were working with him, the people who sweep for Trump and the people who are sycophants for Trump, everyone else is the problem except for Trump. But I'm telling you, if you look at the decades of his personal history, he is the consistent variable in the fuck-ups. So just look at that very simply. If his last name wasn't Trump, if there wasn't a cult of personality built around him, you would not make this many excuses for this man. Then what I would say is that specifically, since he can't legislate, that means that he has to act with executive force in order to try to achieve his goals. As a result, he's weakening the fabric of the republic. I care about conserving the republic. And since this motherfucker is not only retarded and a piece of shit and incompetent and an asshole and he can't govern, I don't want him as the executive of my state. Finally, if you like science fiction, check me out. If you like politics and debates and essays, check me out. Counterpoints.
Been
And
amazing. And Warhammer.
Warhammer is based.
Hey, by the way, I'm going to read you
Yep.
St. Lineage's speech later from Echoes of Eternity, all right?
Excellent. I'll pay for that.
Someone
Je-
gonna go?
yes.
I don't
Jeb
know. Is it me?
Jeb.
Okay.
Dad. Jeb Dad.
So yeah, I mean, yada 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 with the political bullshit. At the end of the day, principle over short-term wins. If you look at the groups over time throughout history who lived off principle versus short-term wins, they last the longest. They're the most successful over the long term. It's irrefutable. So vote through principle. That's not important. The Trump shit is whatever. Everybody here who was watching or in it who was gonna vote for Trump is gonna. Everyone who wasn't isn't gonna. I'm gonna make my closing statement about Connor, and he's gonna hate this as much as everybody who's been shitting on him. Because I've been hearing like endless fucking shitting on him through this panel from the left, who he's helping despite his previous political affiliations, from the right, who are pissed that he's taking money from Progressive Victory, and I'm kind of tired of hearing it. I get having an issue with the Progressive Victory thing. I wouldn't do it. I don't know that I would consider myself a conservative if I was working for Progressive Victory. But Connor doesn't advertise himself as a conservative. He advertises himself as a centrist, and the idea that people consistently attack him on his character because of it is starting to really get to me. Because I've seen Connor take his family and his community, which are the things that conservatives say they care about the most, and that's the end goal. That's what we're trying to protect through policy, and that's what we give a fuck about the most. And I've seen Connor put his family first before everything else, and I've seen him after massive storms came through his community out there clearing trees and helping people out. I've watched him do that, and I've seen nobody else in this sphere who's criticized him doing shit like that. So I'm not like genuinely outraged at anybody, but for all the arguments against Connor's character that we've heard thus far in this panel, I just feel like there has to be some level of railing back, that he's one of the most individually principled people I've ever met in this sphere. And he stands by those principles, and to act like he's anything other than someone who generally voted conservative, who feels lost because the person representing his party doesn't represent him anymore, is ridiculous. He's not out of principle. He's not some agent trying to act against the values of everybody he used to know and loved. He's someone who looks out for his family and his community first. He doesn't think Trump does that. And so he's taking some money to help his family while serving an organization that he feels will help them in the long run in this current situation better. That's it.
Right. Lactoid.
Okay, so maybe I'm maybe Tiberius. No, never mind. I think you're all pretty cool. I like you guys. I understand that you guys might not like each other. But I don't know. I think everybody here was entertaining and contributed, and I thought that was great. And yeah, I had a lot of fun. Jeff Tan, I know I push back against you a lot when we're talking about the voting being a principle thing, but the reality is, like, I'm really empathetic. Like I said, I'm really empathetic to the position of being somebody who voted Libertarian consistently, where yeah, I don't give a fuck if I lose. Like, I'm going to do what's right. This is something that I'm just unfortunate, maybe fortunately, maybe unfortunately, depending on your perspective, I've been sort of evolving on, which is I think voting might just be a pragmatic thing in of itself. Because when you vote, what you're doing is you're saying, I'm exercising power over you. It's not a neutral thing. You are influencing the world around you. And the question is, well, there's going to be no candidate that you agree with completely, not even libertarians, like not even third parties that maybe you think you agree with, but then you find out, oh shit, like this is a ridiculous policy. What you do is you try to vote for the person who's closest to you. And now I'm kind of coming to the idea to vote for the person who might actually have a chance of winning. If you live in a swing state, I would highly advise at this point that you take this into consideration. If you're not in a swing state, vote third party unquestionably. Super easy. Who gives a fuck? Your vote doesn't matter anyway. As to a little bit of the Connor glazing that just happened, like I like you, Counterpoints. I do think it's fair though that you have to expect some flack if you're going to be taking money from an organization that is contrary to what you would define yourself as. It would be like if I'm out here talking about gun rights, and then we find out under my financial disclosures that I'm getting a bunch of money from an anti-gun group. I think people would reasonably question what the motives for what I've been saying are, and if they can trust anything I've been saying, because there is at least the perspective, the impression upon the viewer there of impropriety or paid for language. So just throwing that out, you know, I like I said, I don't think you're a bad person. But that's probably why you got a lot of the shit this panel. So
quick note: the head of PV and Brianna Wu both DM'd me during this thing, and they told me to call Rob and Gibbs gay. That's why I did it.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm gonna be honest.
That's why, like, I wasn't doing it to be funny. I did it.
Okay, all right. So, but then the plug. Then the plug. If you liked what I had to say, you can find me at LikeToy TV on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. It's been a blast. Thanks, guys.
Hey,
and next, Rob, I'm going to need you to start selling energy drinks more.
Thank you. Yeah.
Please.
I didn't even eat dinner today. I went straight from physical therapy to 2 panels. So, but I'm fat, so I won't eat tonight because I know it's not good. Blah, blah, blah. All right. Where do you even go with this? I just want to say real quick on the idea of like, we always have to trust the generals. Yeah, we trust them in Libya. How'd that go? We trust them in Iraq. How'd that go? The idea that we have to pay one insurgency to fight another. Yeah, that's why we're in Afghanistan, Connor, because we trusted the generals. They all thought it was a good idea to arm the Mujahideen, so we got to go back. I'm fucking sick and tired of this. It's just more, Connor is making the military equivalent of trust the science. Oh, you can't have questions. You know, you just got to trust. And if the scientists in Trump's orbit, you know, didn't trust Trump, they should have subverted him and went behind his back. Total, absolute horseshit. Mad Dog Mattis, for example, he's so cool. He's a warrior poet. Want to know what he said about Trump's response to the George Floyd riots? They were too militarized. That's what tough guy Mattis was saying, the warrior poet. That's what he said about Trump's response to left-wingers burning this fucking country down. That's cool because Connor works
to preserve the republic, Rob. You want to say some shit like that in a fucking outro? Are you retarded?
I mean, you can't even.
You want to use the military on domestic fucking soil, you fucking asshole? Are you serious?
Allow me to repeat what I said, you fucking low.
Mattis said it was too fucking militarized because Trump wanted to use the fucking military, you dipstick.
Mattis said, let's find the direct quote. Warning against militarizing our response. Mattis said that Trump's the first president who, let me see. Criticisms Trump, George Floyd, accusing the president of dividing the nation. And warning against militarizing our response. Can you tell me specifically what Trump said, since you're going to interrupt? Can you tell me what Mattis is responding to? Specifically, he said militarize our response. Go ahead. What was the policy that Trump advocated for?
This is outros, so I don't want to get this into you, but hold on. This is an important point, so I want to make this point, and then I want to hold up. I want to make my point, and then I want to let you finish your outro. The fact that we're talking about republicanism and conservatism, and you're criticizing a military member who doesn't want a military response to domestic unrest almost proves my entire fucking point. So if you want to have a conversation at a future fucking date specifically about that incident, I am happy to. I would prefer to let you finish your outro, and then we'll both get food because I'm hangry as well.
I'm not eating. And again, notice
I'm fat and I'm hungry. So
he made fun of Gibbs for not being. He made fun of Gibbs for not being able to give an answer to socialism. Yet he can't tell me what the policy that Mattis was criticizing that Trump suggested. That
you want to do this now or later, motherfucker? Finish your goddamn intro.
Maybe you shouldn't interrupt in the outro with your fucking bullshit.
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't say some fucking wild shit.
Oh, what was so wild that I said that Mattis?
I don't want to get into it, you fucking psycho. Schedule another debate.
Right. Then don't interrupt in the fucking outro.
Then don't say we should use the fucking military on domestic shit, you fucking asshole. Right, that's obviously what Mattis was objecting to, you dipstick.
I'm going to pause, and I want Connor to show. Go look at the video. Find a timestamp when I said we should use the military on domestic people.
That's what Mattis was saying about Trump.
When did Trump say that? Give me an example. What did Trump say?
I trust Mattis, who was in the fucking meetings with him, you stupid fuck. Are you shitting me right now?
Or do you also trust that Trump was too dividing the nation over the George Floyd? You trust that too?
Yeah, I trust James Mattis over Trump.
Okay,
what are you talking about?
So here we go. So Connor wants to interrupt, and he clearly doesn't have to go. I just trust something was there. If Mattis
you asked him to talk during your closing.
No, I didn't. He interrupted during my
because
closing,
you said
and then
some fucking stupid shit. Yeah.
Can't you pay attention either? It's evident from the debate you can't.
I mean, I did. Then you told him, Connor, please tell me blank.
That's right, and he was unable.
Let's not have a new debate. Finish your outro. Right. You know what an outro is for? It's for summarizing your arguments and then telling people where they can find you, not bringing up a brand new fucking topic of debate.
I thought outros for interrupting the people with bullshit that are trying to give their outro. Oh, no, that's what you thought it was. So anyways, I'll finish my point come hell or high water. So you can't give an example of that. Connor also can't tell you, for example, Trump was suggesting reluctantly to use the National Guard because Democrat governors and mayors were purposefully allowing these riots to get out of control, while Mad Dog Mattis was talking about Trump being too divisive. I wonder if Mad Dog Mattis spoke up after January 6th to the deploying of the National Guard. I wonder if he spoke up about subways in New York right now that are deploying the National Guard. Militarization? Oh my God. I bet it didn't even hear Connor talking about that though. That's weird that all of our generals were silent. Once with Trump hypothetically deploying the National Guard, that was beyond the pale. But when Democrats actually do it, the same generals that Connor seems to be worshiping, all of a sudden they're silent and Connor's perfectly fine with it because they're principled. Trust them, they're principled.
Okay, no, pause. Rob, I'll answer your fucking question. I'll answer your fucking question. Fuck you.
Fucking idiot.
Fuck you, you fucking idiot. You know what the difference is? It's the demands of the states for National Guard, you stupid fuck, not the executive branch.
It's so ridiculous. So now his argument
is so ridiculous. Dude, I can't listen. I literally have to shut this up. This is the most anti-American bullshit that has ever been uttered in the fucking goddamn outro ever. Finish your fucking point. It's literally retarded.
You're fucking, like, of course you have to interrupt. Again, you can't really, this is what Progressive Victory Pack teaches you, I guess, right? He's the most unprincipled person here, pretending to care for these values and yet sticking up for and getting paid by groups that are specifically antithetical. I don't even have to argue the points more specifically than everyone who watched this could see that Connor has such Trump derangement syndrome. He's literally cheering for the Constitution to be subverted and for generals to overrule him. He would have the same.
Says the guy who wants to deploy the National Guard against the wish of the governors.
Interrupting every time you interrupt.
Yeah, because you keep saying stupid shit.
Go. Ty, are you okay with this?
Show me one time.
What you want.
Show me one time where I said that we should deploy. What did I say that? I said, what did specifically Trump advocate for that Mattis was? You don't have an
Stop talking about this. Talk about republicanism. Talk about conservatism.
I'm talk about whatever I want. I'll talk about.
Okay, if you're going to talk about National Guard deployment, then you're a fucking idiot.
Get out. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to give my closing statement. I didn't tell you what to say in your closing statement. Okay. I know you think you're some big shit just because Brianna Wu tapped you on the shoulder. No one gives a fuck, dude. No one cares. You've made a name for yourself.
You think that's why I think I'm cool?
We gotta open.
All right, now I'll finish my opening statement then, or my closing statement then, right? If I can not get interrupted. So the idea that it was ridiculous that this was allowed to occur, Mattis didn't speak up about the Democrats allowing this to occur. The point I'm trying to make. Connor specifically is someone who will, Orange Man bad, will cheer for the subversion of our country. The last thing I have to say about him before I get to Jebtan is he said he just wants to preserve the public. Laugh out fucking loud. He's working for getting getting paid by, and voting for a dude that is literally tearing the fabric of the republic apart right now. That's what he's doing. He's voting for the party that was all for the FISA warrants and wiretaps against Trump. He's voting for the weaponization of government against parents at school board meetings. He's voting for the weaponization of government and pushing for censorship of conservatives online. That's what he's voting for, saying it's all about preserving the public. It is self-evidently true. He's full of shit. The last thing I have to say, and I can't believe I have to do this, is Jeb Tan, you really are a fucking lefty progressive, aren't you? My feelings are hurt that you made fun of Connor, and I don't like what I'm saying.
I literally said my feelings aren't hurt.
Interrupting again.
But I said there's so much anti-Connor. There's got to be some counter argument.
There we go. That what a fucking crybaby. What an absolute fucking worthless statement.
Who's crying, dude?
There's too much pushback on Connor, and I didn't like what I heard. What the fuck ever? It's so ridiculous. I'm tired of you whiners. It's clear what's going on, right? Jeb Tan makes this argument. He admits pragmatically in the short term Trump would be better, right? But then it's just his feels that if Trump wins it. You done?
Oh, okay. No, I mean, I can keep going if you want to give me the time. I'll take it.
I'm not done. My outro's going.
So what I'll say is the biggest pussies on the planet get mad when somebody gives one counter argument to something they've been arguing against the entire panel. So when you get pissy that I'm arguing in favor of Connor's principle, that's you getting emotional about it, because I am simply giving some level of representation to the counter argument. So if that bugs you that much, it's likely because most of your arguments cannot stand when opposition is present.
No, it's not that it bugged me that much. It's the point that we have to take in the idea that, well, we have to look at, like, I don't like this because Connor's a good person and he donated to this and that. It's fucking bullshit. It's lefty bullshit.
No, it's just that you're wrong. I didn't say I don't like
lefty bullshit, Rob.
Did anybody else? Did we interrupt you?
Let him wrap it up.
Connor, with the stupid shit you were saying. I sit here and listen to you go on that stupid diatribe without interrupting you.
You literally argued for the National Guard to be deployed against the will of governors, you fucking idiot.
There we go. Once more with Connor interrupting, can't help himself.
We're done with that.
So the last thing I'll say is, where was I here? Let's see. How longer can I draw this out with these fuckers interrupting me the whole time? It's clear that Jeb, right, he doesn't have a principle to what he's saying in this sense. He hasn't thought it through, because he makes this argument that pragmatically Trump would be better in the short term, ignores all of the excesses of Biden and how things could get more corrupt and more people locked up, more censorship, etc. Ignores the fact that there wouldn't be that high of a chance of a left-wing Supreme Court. But he just asserts without any evidence whatsoever, which Lactoid pushed back against very well, was like, what is your guarantee if Trump doesn't win in 2024, he won't be the nominee again in 2028? He just goes, my feels, because he'll have lost twice in a row.
I just got bits to end your outro, so go ahead and finish up.
Now, if you got money for it, that's fine.
I got paid for it.
I will say, I thought you've been a fine moderator, and if you got bits, that's fine. But you should really stop.
Hold on. I got you.
Oh no,
I'm donating money so you finish, baby. Let's go.
Oh God.
It's fine. It's fine.
Go ahead, no, Rob. No. I just spent money. You finished strong.
I got a hype train so you can finish. So,
yeah, you finished, baby. Let's go.
I'm just saying he hasn't thought through his position, right? He has no guarantee. And so why would you take a known short-term ill for the hope that you just have no factual basis for? Just, well, Trump loses twice, he won't win again. I don't think there's any factual basis for that. And I think the argumentation is much better. What's going to happen is people will blame correctly the lawfare against Trump and the corruption, and him or whoever he anoints will be the person that wins the nominee in 2028. The best chance to have Trump not be the nominee is to actually have him win. And then maybe you could have someone that could go to the right of him on policy, as opposed to him being a martyr, which is what's occurring now.
That was worth the 250, I think.
Thanks.
I'm a little smooth brained. Is it my turn now?
Yes. No, Rob has 5 more minutes.
Thank you.
Do you need 5 more minutes, Rob?
No, time to go.
Yeah, I'm clearly way too smooth brained for this panel. Like on one side of this, I know that I don't agree with Lactoiding and Jeb Tan about how the future of the party can go, but I can have a generally pretty good conversation with them. I don't know how to interact with Gibbs when I'm like, hey, why is it that I hear everything that you like that Nikki Haley likes? Like, I don't know any policy position you don't agree on. And then you're like, fuck her. I hate her. I can't do with this. I'm like, I love you, buddy. I really do. You've got an entertaining like presence. but I just can't get any consistency out of you at any of this. And maybe I'm just too stupid. Maybe I really am, right? It's just like I feel like I can make a deal with Lactoid. I feel like I can make a deal with Jedtan. Connor agrees with me on fucking practically everything, so that doesn't need to be a conversation. I can't reach out to you, brother. Like, I'm literally going to like iCount Ridge and Leafy Water Kai that are Democrats, and I'm like, I can have a conversation with you. I can make a deal with you. I can actually get legislative change done. But I can't with you, man. And until I can, all right, cool. If you're the future of the Republican Party, have at it. I'm going to the Democrats. I can't fucking do this shit. I fucking cannot.
Jeb nods his head.
All
We can
right.
talk about it.
Well, yeah,
on
because
that.
I mean, this is where the principle, like conservatism is the ideals of personal responsibility. But the last thing you fucks will ever do is look at someone who's not voting for Trump, and instead of blaming them, look inward and think, what is my candidate that I'm supporting doing to push all these people away? It's the last fucking thing you guys will do, claiming that you're for the ideals of personal responsibility. Instead of blaming Connor, instead of blaming Tybe, why don't you blame fucking Trump for once, for why all these
Listen,
people are being pushed away?
I would like to wrap up and leave, so I kind of want to let Leafy say whatever he wants to say.
I was just
Before
going
we
to
get
say
out.
thank you all for being here. You've been amazing. These are so many different viewpoints coming from pretty much what's supposed to be the same party. And this has been
Hot.
pretty much epic. Oh, very spicy. And thank you for coming through, Connor. I know you need to go get some food in your stomach, and I appreciate you being willing to come on here. Without you, this wouldn't have happened. Same goes for Gibbs for being the impetus for the idea of this. Thank you all for participating. Anybody that needs to dip, by all means, do your thing. We're going to head to open.
All right. Parasocial love. Good night. Ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry for spurging out at the end. The reason why, as a matter of fact, hold on, let's address donos real quick. So we got $5 from neoliberal shitlord earlier that said, this motherfucker spitting. Thank you. Thank you. I'm not sure if you were talking about me or somebody else, but I do appreciate the dono. And then Grassroots Hegemon says $20. One of the funniest things I've ever seen was Rakita Law revealing the people attacking his Minnesota bar and law license, giving him their names and addressing which he read on stream. His behavior was still repulsive. I'm sorry that I just read that. I swear to God, it just came through. But Grassroots Hegemon with the $20, neoliberal shitlord with the 5. I appreciate it. The stream, okay, just to share it. I do want to grow this. We peaked out around 80, I guess, tonight. We were bouncing between basically 50 and 80 all night cross-platform. I appreciate y'all showing up. I appreciate y'all watching. If you're not a YouTube member, become a YouTube member. If you're not a sub on Twitch, become a sub on Twitch. If you have any donos or super chats or whatever, if you got money burning a hole in your pocket, it's always appreciated. I know the economy is rough out there. I know a McChicken is fucking $3 right now. So if you're a brokey, don't worry about it. Your viewership basically helps me get ad revenue. So I appreciate it. And then also, if you see content going forward, what we're going to do is we're going to go live on Counterfire. So I just want to break this down for you real quick before we get into one last point I need to make about that debate that is still bugging me. So if you see Counterfire, you're able to catch the live stream. Obviously, I want you here for as long as you can be here. If you can't be here the entire time, totally fine. Jump in for 10 minutes, say something funny, dip out. If you see a VOD, though, next day, what we're going to start doing is doing the Destiny formula, which is where you unlist it 24 hours later, and then you post it as a pre-recorded video with a little bit of editing. Obviously, we can't afford to do like super hardcore editing right now, but we're going to start doing that. That way, the YouTube ad revenue for live streams versus YouTube ad revenue for fully watched VODs, the pre-recorded videos get more ad revenue. So we're going to do that. So if you want to catch it live, catch it live. If you see a video get unlisted and you don't have the link, don't worry about it. We'll get it back up to you. One of the things that's frustrating to me. So I actually do respect Rob's intelligence. I think he's an intelligent fellow. I think he's capable of reading books. Gibbs absolutely pissed me the fuck off and basically derailed the entire panel, but it was funny calling him homosexual. Now, if you're homosexual and you're in my audience, I am not calling him gay in order to indict you. All right. If you are a person with a vagina and you like to lick vagina, or if you're a person with a penis and you like to perform random acts of sodomy or smoke pole or get your pole smoked, I am not indicting you for your homosexuality. I do, however, think that gay and retarded are effective negative descriptors, particularly in spaces that are more conservative or right-leaning. And I do think that oftentimes the right wing gets away with calling people who are not Trump sycophants cucks or simps or whatever. And I feel like playing the Uno reverse card and calling their masculinity or heterosexuality into question because they're simping for Trump so hard, I think it's a fun way to shitpost and to fuck with them psychologically. Now, that being said, one of the things that as we were wrapping up, the reason why I literally could not listen to the outro is because James Mattis might have his flaws. He could even be not the most intelligent man. I don't fucking know. But he's a general who served, who likes violence, who commanded men in war, who got men killed through his command, through his choices, but lived with those choices nonetheless, and who actively killed the enemies of the United States of America. Not only that, he's not a stupid man, and he's fairly well read, and he does, read Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, and he does all sorts of shit like that, where he meditates on the philosophy of war and conflict and life and death and legacy and history and all that kind of stuff. So when a man like James Mattis criticizes a man like Donald Trump, I am going to listen to James Mattis over Donald Trump every single fucking time. And not only that, James Mattis, I guarantee you that if I got James Mattis on an interview and I said, what was your problem with Trump wanting to militarize the response to the summer of 2020? He's going to say, I almost guarantee it, that Trump was trying to figure out a way to use the military or to mobilize the National Guard against the wishes of the governors in order to stomp out the riots. I almost guarantee you that's what he's going to say. Although I guess it would have been earlier than that, right? It wouldn't have been 2020. 2020 was the summer of love. That's when Biden was elected. So it would have been earlier than that, right? It would have been 2019. So no one knows who Mantis was. I know. Okay. I know. And if you trust me over Rob, then you should trust my evaluation of Mattis, M-A-T-T-I-S, General James Mattis. So anyways, the separation of powers, the ability for governors and states to rule themselves without the federal government interceding unless it's in the most extreme of circumstances is one of the fundamental aspects of a republic. So to have that put in an outro about the definition of conservatism and republicanism, and to have my bona fides as somebody who appreciates Edmund Burke and who appreciates the concept of republic and appreciates Roman history and appreciates English common law and English, Republican history. I say Republican, but obviously a constitutional monarchy is what they would say. The balance of power is one of the most fundamental and important parts of the way our society functions. So to have that undermined in an outro was so illustrative of my fucking problem with Trump sycophants. Is it almost proves everything that I was thinking before, during, and after the panel. Has Mattis written anything worth reading? I don't know. I don't know if he has a biography or an autobiography. Nico Pluto says, I love you, weirdo. I'm so pissed because I love Rob too. Rob's a good guy. Okay. Rob's intelligent and he can be funny, but holy shit. When he gets fucking spurgy and ranty, it's a panel, so we're going to get spurgy and ranty. But he knows how to make me very angry. Why do you let us misspell your name, though? I don't know if you're talking to me. My name is spelled Connor, C-O-N-O-R. Some of you may have heard the rumor that I like war, but this couldn't be further from the truth. I love war, General James Mattis. Fucking hell. I am in psychic pain. Please shower me with questions and money if you have it to soothe the psychic damage. I know that you guys were with me the entire time taking psychic damage, but holy shit. That was fucking brutal. And by the way, this is what's funny, right? They're like, oh, you only say what you say because you take money from PV. It's like, nah, I pretty much hated Trump since 2015. That's part of the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. And then not only that, the fact that you think that PV would pay me to come to a Republican panel and call everybody gay and retarded. I mean, I don't think they would like the optics on that. You know, maybe I'm getting played. Maybe this is 4D chess warfare where they're like, Connor, he'll go into the Republican debate scene and call everyone gay and retarded. You know what? I'm gonna have to ask the main guy at PV. I'm gonna be like, did you think I was gonna go into the Republican scene and call everybody gay and retarded? Oh shit. Nubbins says at Counterpoints, you should humor shitty parts of Twitch like this in the future. If you mean like I should do more panel debates, we can. I do like my React Andy Too Long Didn't Watch streams just because I take enough psychic damage from those, but at the same time, it's more from like the React Andy side of things. So I can kind of like pace myself, or I can articulate why I'm frustrated without getting frustrated like a debate. During a debate, you don't always get out what you want to get out. And yeah. So basically like you take more psychic damage in a debate or a panel than you do in a Too Long Didn't Watch stream or in a Counterfire stream. Ericoda says, at Counterfire, heard you were having a combo with perspective philosophy. Hopefully it convinces you on needing more for moral justification than common sense. Also, been a while. How have you been? Oh, yeah, doing well. Doing well, bud. And yeah, perspective philosophy could do it. But, you know, a lot of the things that a lot of people are asking. So I'm getting a little tired of drama. I still watch it pretty religiously because I do enjoy drama streams, but I have been craving something more substantive. So I was thinking about going back to Audible and maybe hitting up some Greater Courses series or doing some 40K lore or like aliens deep dives, like maybe reading some aliens books to get some aliens lore. That would be fucking cool. So I've been thinking about that, but I just haven't pulled the trigger because it seems like a commitment. And then also, if you're talking about like when you do an audiobook, you're talking about like committing yourself to 12 hours of listening. And so when you do a 20-minute drama video or like a 3-hour drama stream as you're passing out or whatever, it's just like a nice, cheap, easy way to entertain your brain and kind of laugh every now and then while you're going to sleep or while you're doing something else. Whereas I think with a book, it really does require like a certain like element of focus to pay attention to the details that make it worth consuming. And as a result, it's more intimidating. I'm not saying that I shouldn't suck it up and do it. I'm just saying that like that's my hesitancy. So Nubbin says, Connor, if you are older than 30, you are allowed to use gay as it was used in the 90s, which ironically was not homosexual. Thank you, Nubbins. Thank you. I appreciate it. Grassroots Hegemon says, a Counterfire, don't be sorry. I was just mega late to stream. Lol. Okay, excellent. Well, I'm happy I caught it. Thank you, King. Thank you for the dono. It is appreciated. Oh God, dude, I'm telling you. Like I stressed out the blood vessels in my skull. There, like if I was 70 and I had that debate, I would have had a stroke. That was brutal. Yeah, I'm not, we're kind of joking, but like I'm not actually attacking gay people for being gay. I'm trying to use it as a derogatory statement, questioning the masculinity of men who would sell their honor basically in order to simp for a man who I think has no honor whatsoever. So I know that I'm gruff, I'm abrasive, I'm not obtuse, but I say mean and rude things in the worst ways possible. But I don't, I don't actually hate, black people or women or gays because they're black or gay or women. I hate them for other reasons. But I also hate white straight men for other reasons too. So it's an equal opportunity hatred. Evan says, Connor, you're 100% right on Mattis. Fuck this not knowing haters. Dude, I swear to God, I need to get into like the veteran sphere so I can get some fucking veterans in here. So when I'm talking shit about like generals or cops or whatever, we can have some backup. Because I swear to God, like people taking James Mattis and putting them next to Trump and being like, I trust Trump over James Mattis. That is infuriating to no degree. Woo. Did Mattis turn woke? No. He just likes the Republic and he believes in the separation of powers and that, like the distribution of power. He believes in a republic. He swore his life to it. He dedicated his life to it. And letting somebody like basically come in and take a giant shit on the concept of the republic is probably more offensive to him than it is to me. ACAB, using the military and U.S. cities to be anti-crime. I don't think a lot of people will have a problem with it. Okay, so ACAB, it's supposed to be at the governor's request, okay, for the National Guard. Here's the way that it works. National Guard are people who serve the military of the state. Now, that's not necessarily how they work. They're oftentimes auxiliaries to federal troops overseas, but they're supposed to serve the state in times of emergency and times of crisis. That's why you see a lot of National Guard doing disaster relief. So they're not at the beck and whim and order of the President of the United States, except in limited circumstances. They are at the order of the governor. So since the governor is the elected representative of the state, if the governor's cities are being raped, defiled, murdered, arsoned, all that kind of stuff, then there should be democratic pressure to the governor to the extent that the governor believes that the National Guard should be deployed. But because Trump was such a controversial figure, they wanted to handle it through law enforcement, which, by the way, as the democratically elected governor, is their right to do. But because Trump didn't want to be seen as weak on crime, he wanted to use the exceptions in the military infrastructure to either deploy the military, which James Mattis would have shit a fucking brick. He might have actually just shot Trump in the fucking face over that if he tried to destroy federal troops on American soil. And then instead of that, because the generals probably told him to go fuck himself, which is the absolute right thing to do, he probably tried to mobilize the National Guard against the wishes of the governors. So I think Rob can find me an excerpt that proves me wrong, but I doubt he'll be able to, that Mattis saw that he was trying to mobilize the National Guard against the wishes of the governors. And he said, that's not how this works. Oh, wow. Wildly frustrating, wildly infuriating. It's like the whole point of the fucking republic is the diffusion and separation of power. America is a democratic republic now. Of course it is. They're not mutually exclusive when it comes to America. Yeah. Republic largely means a representative democracy, but the main thrust of a republic is that you establish like a core of legal doctrine in the rule of law, and you dictate how society will be through legislation. That's like the core of republicanism is the body of laws that cohere the society, but then elected representatives make modifications to those laws. Already answered that. Talking to you, Connor. I mean, my name is spelled C-O-N-O-R. The Third Amendment is there to battle against the anti-American bullshit. Yeah, exactly. Wait, not two N's as in Connor, just Connor? Yes. C-O-N-O-R. And the Third Amendment, what was funny is the quartering of troops actually became a potential issue during the Trump presidency, because they had to be deployed like against New York's will or some shit like that. Nico Pluto, you should not be upset, okay? If you're still here and if you're still listening, you should not be upset. Rob and I we've had good faith debates in the past. We'll have good faith debates in the future. Just Gibbs, if I had not called him a raging homosexual for Trump, I might have actually had a heart attack or a stroke on stream. Like the calling him a homosexual was like my vent to so I didn't have a heart attack. Nubbin says there's no Twitch political streamer that is getting paid enough to have a political lean. You say that. Hello, sorry for bothering you. I want to offer a promotion for your channel viewers, followers, chatbots. The price is lower than any competitor. The quality is guaranteed to be the best. Flexible and convenient. Other management panel, chat panel. Everything is in your hands. A huge number of custom settings. Go to Streamrise. No, thank you, but appreciate it. Pondering politics. How big a super chat is necessary for you to swear allegiance to Emperor Palpatine? Unfortunately, I don't think there's a dollar amount on Earth. You could, Pondering Politics could offer me. He's doing very well, by the way. Or he was doing very well. I'm sure he's still doing quite well. Pondering Politics could offer me a month's worth of YouTube revenue, which adds up to a substantive amount. And I would need an expiration date on my allegiance to Palpatine. It would need to be like thousands. I'm talking a shitload of money. And I would just have to say that Palpatine was cool for like a month. And then after that, there's really not a dollar amount that you can buy my allegiance to Palpatine. He was a shitty ruler. He didn't know what he was doing. He was inefficient. He didn't know how to use his troops. He didn't know how to use his second-hand man. He fucked up a whole bunch of things. The only reason why he was able to get anything done was because of plot armor. So, yeah. Sorry. My principles are only temporarily available for very high sums of money to betray the Imperium for Palpatine. It really is that serious. It's controlled psychic damage. Yeah. We're talking about React Andy for sure. Woo! Listen, I'm sorry if I'm slowing down or whatever, but I'm kind of like I'm decompressing from the debate, so I hope you guys are decompressing as well. Gay didn't mean gay like it does today in the 90s. Yeah. Gay is not, especially in my context. When I was growing up, gay was not specifically homosexual. Now, being homosexual was not the best thing in the world. You were absolutely going to get bullied if you were homosexual. But it was also like a weirder time. There was this kid named Josh. And I swear to God, everybody in school knew he was gay before he knew he was gay. Because he talked with a lisp and he was very like accentuated and he moved very aggressively and feminine and all that kind of stuff. He was like that all the time. And yet he had a girlfriend and he insisted that he was straight. which I can understand. Like, it's probably, I'm in a purple state. I'm in a purple area of a purple state. I understand that if your parents are super conservative, it's probably really scary to be gay and know that if you're gay, you're going to get cut off from your family. Like that's probably terrifying. But gay also just meant like lame, effeminate, whatever. And so what sucks is gay and the F slur have a harder punch. That means like weak, effeminate, lame, passive, a bottom, basically. Like that's really what it is, because obviously there's homosexual tops, but there's not a way to capture the insult of gay and the F slur that specifically deals with like effeminate, weak, bottom, subordinate, lame. There's no way to capture that punch without also being offensive to homosexuals. So it's, I used it. I thought it was a decent weapon in that conversation. I'll use it again in the future. If I'm in a conversation with Pisco, like Pisco, I don't know if Pisco's actually homosexual, but I used it in front of him once. I used a pejorative gay in front of him. He did not like it. And I think he took offense. So if anybody ever takes offense, I won't use it in their presence. But it is, it's a tool in my toolkit that I'm going to reserve. I am going to keep it in my back pocket, specifically for calling heterosexual gruff men who simp for Trump. I'm going to call them gay for sure. Dicky Boy says at Counterpoints, I don't know how Rob is a good person. You can tell from how he very intentionally says things that he knows when he is being deceptive, manipulative, deep throating, spray tan cock. Listen, I'm going to agree with Rob. He did not specifically simp for Trump. He didn't say Trump was good. He said that the things that were happening to Trump were bad, and then he was making excuses for his behavior. So, yeah. Ambivalent Bastard says, I'm not trying to say that I'm using gay to offend gay people. I'm just saying gay means feminine and honorless. That's a great quote. We used to have on the Discord, we had a counter quotes sub thing. And if you go in there, I'm sure there's still gold in there. But that's something that would absolutely end up in counter quotes for sure. I haven't been as active on Discord as I want to be, and I'm starting to. Actually, I jumped in text chat. I went back and forth with Kasim a little bit. I think I'm gonna create like a channel, because obviously like you guys want to hang out with each other, but I want to talk about Warhammer and I want to talk about politics, and those are going to be my two biggest things. And I know that some people just want to talk to me, so I think I'm going to start a channel that's just like Counterpoints Hangout or whatever, and it'll be like a text in the VC. And I think if I'm bored or if I'm hanging out at work, I'll probably just post in the Counterpoints Hangout text channel. So if people want to, like, if I'm at work and I just want to hang out with people, instead of wasting all my time on Twitter, I'll waste my time on Discord with you guys. And then if I have free time, which I don't have any free time anymore ever, but when I have free time, I'll jump at the VC. Eric Oda says, at Counterfire, do you know who Jay Dyer is? Is there anyone who can convince you that God exists? It's him and his tag, Transcendental Argument for God. He also got me into Orthodox Christianity. I'll probably never be a dogmatic religious person, but I believe in God. I believe in God. I believe in a creative force of the universe that made everything, and that there's order imbued in the universe. And when you follow the order of the universe, your life gets better. And when you ignore the order of the universe, your life gets worse. I believe in God in that sense. I just don't know if it's like a personal force that literally cares about every living being that has ever existed ever. Now, I would love it. I would love it if God was a paternal force who marveled at his own creation and who loved the highest achievements of his sentient beings. I would love that. I just don't know if that's literally true. So I don't know if God has a personality. More like God is like a fundamental, creative, and ordered force. Grassroots Hegemon says, or their asses, let's be honest, most of his supporters would sell both for the low price of $0. You know what's funny? I do earnestly think that Biden is better for the Republic of the United States of America more than Trump. I view him as a relatively centrist president. I view him as less dangerous to the institutions of the presidency. I obviously hate his gun control. I obviously hate dog shit economic policies. I obviously hate simping for progressives in order to get elected. I hate all that shit. However, I think he's more stable and better for the Republic than Trump. But it is funny that, like, my dignity is more passionate for saying that Emperor Palpatine is the best emperor. Like, I'm literally like, I'm more angry at the idea of taking money to say Palpatine is good than I am to say, like, Biden's not so bad. I'm fucking angry. Palpatine sucks. He's not even the best Sith. He's not the best Force wielder. He's not the best Sith. He's not the best evil emperor. He's not the best emperor. He's not the best general. He sucks. Ugh. Westside Tyler says, good to see you, by the way. Mattis slander is a wall-facing offense. True. Actually, like honestly, man. STV says, my points, my man points. Good evening. Happy to see you. Bud123 says, I thought Trump mobilized the National Guard and deployed them to protect federal buildings during the BLM riots in 2020. I would not be surprised. I know that there was a militarized response to the federal buildings, which, by the way, as the executive, that is perfectly fine. That is great. Within your purview and your requirement to safeguard what is under your purview, that is great. But you should not be trying to usurp the authority of people within a federal republic. Unupsetty your spaghetti. I am legitimately working on it. I am actually decompressing. I hope that my psychic damage is going down. I hope your guys' psychic damage is going down as well as we continue to stream. Jimmy Beam says, Connor, will there be content with you and Brianna going back and forth? Of course. Of course. So Jimmy Bean, right now, what we're doing is we're still doing the Counterfire show. We're doing it weekly. Actually, earlier we did a Counterfire episode with Stardust, but she's actually moved into drama content. So we ended up talking about Nick Rakita more than we ended up talking about Trump, which the plan was originally the inverse. But she's more drama focused, and it was interesting and funny and weird. So we just went with it, right? But the game plan is Brianna just had surgery. She's out this week for sure. She's out next week. We'll see if she needs more time to recover. Next week, we'll actually be hanging out with Fairy Queen, which is cool because I've been on a few panels with Fairy Queen. I don't agree with her on everything, but she seems like cool people. And Brianna will be back. The point of Counterfire in general is that Brianna is more progressive than me. Now, she might be kind of like swearing off the progressive label, but she still has progressive policies when it comes to like normie Americans, right? So she's at least a Democrat, if not a liberal, if not a progressive. She's just not like a terminally online autistic, leftist, anti-Israel psycho that wants to kill all the Jews, right? So Brianna, that's her perspective. Mine is like, I actually really wouldn't mind having Marco Rubio as a president. I really wouldn't mind having Ron DeSantis as a president. I think Republicans in general are better on the economy and the markets and understanding how businesses function and all that kind of stuff. However, I do believe in redistributive economics, and I think you need redistributive economics in order to have a healthy, happy, strong society with good families and good workers. And so I get more economically redistributive than Republicans. But honestly, considering how fucked up the economy is and how the middle class is disappearing and how stratified our economics are becoming, I'm really wondering if I'm not wrong. I'm just early for Republicans who actually are okay with redistributive economics. Ronald Reagan did a real mind fuck on redistributive economics in the Republican Party. And also the 1980s and the hyper-capitalism of that era really did a number on Republican concern for actual like natural environmentalism. Needs to be remarked, Richard Nixon was the person who created the EPA. Yeah, shout out to Pondering. He's a good dude. He's a good dude. I'm catching up with you guys, so like I'm like 5 minutes behind you guys. Pondering's like, my honor has its limits. It's true. It's true. I care more about my sci-fi honor than I do my political honor. Hey, Philly. How are you? I thought I saw you on a profile earlier. I could be wrong, though. Grassroots says you lost that $3 and McChicken is mine, nerd. No. Thank you for your donation. Sincerely appreciated. Pondering Politics, it was great. It was horrible. We all took psychic damage, but I did call Admiral Gibbs retarded and gay. I did call Rob retarded numerous times. We did actually talk about the philosophy of conservatism and republicanism versus like modern MAGA, Trump republicanism. And then we fought viciously. And I think I made Lactoid laugh a lot. Like Lactoid was supposed to be against me. And he did like clear up one of Admiral Gibbs's rebuttals that I really didn't like. So he kind of like steelmanned it, but he was laughing. Like every time that I was asking fucking, what's his face? Every time I was asking Gibbs for a fucking definition of socialism, Lactoid was fucking laughing. Because he couldn't do it. He couldn't come up with a definition. He had no fucking definition. It was crazy. Remember when sissy was a slur? I remember. Was it? Was it a slur or was it just an insult? Sissy just doesn't have the same punch. You know what I'm saying? Gay and the F slur are infinitely more powerful. RC says Empire versus the Imperium would be interesting because Star Wars has better ship technology, but ground forces wise, Imperium wins. Oh yeah, 100%. And also like the Imperium has a bunch of like interplanetary weapons of mass destruction as well. So yeah, I still think the Imperium sweeps compared to the Empire. Gay is when your truck sits lower in the back than the front. Nice. Roroboat says, I was shocked when I found out gay means you like dudes because everyone just used it as a substitute for dumb. Yeah, true. Literally. Yeah, like 90s, thousands. Gay meant lame and dumb. It was just like a more aggressive lame and dumb. Jimmy Beam. I did stop using the term gay the way I did after working with a lot of people who actually were that took offense legitimately. Yeah. Like if Dylan Burns is homosexual, right, or he's bisexual. If I said gay in a derogatory manner and Dylan Burns was legitimately offended, I am gonna apologize and I am gonna stop saying it in his presence. Same thing. I think I mentioned with like Pisco. Again, I don't remember if he's homosexual or bisexual or what. But if I say gay and he's like, what? Oh, then I'd be like, I mean, that's gay, but but I'm gonna stop saying it in your presence so I don't offend you because I respect you as an intellect. So, that kind of thing. And yeah, Christian Valera says cringe. Yeah, that was another like synonym for the way that gay was used. Cringe, and cringe does hit. But the problem with cringe is, one, I think it's overused. Two, it's probably like 5 years old at this point, so I think it's kind of wearing out its welcome. I'm sure we'll have new lingo that means cringe in the next couple of years. And then two, it just doesn't hit as hard as questioning the masculinity of your opponent, especially if they're a cis, white, straight, heterosexual male, such as myself, who is racist, sexist, and homophobic, such as myself. If you question their sexuality, then they get really defensive about it. But it's really funny. Eric Coda says, just use a different homosexual slur if they find one annoying. I don't think you want me to do that. That just gets really, really way more offensive really quick. I don't think you want me doing that at all. Christian Valerius, I feel like Pisco takes offense just to take offense is what makes him a great lawyer. Maybe. Jimmy Bean says, I think Rob means well, but sends himself down rabbit holes and can't get out of them. He does decent research, but again, he just doesn't put it together the same way I do, which is fine. We have different motivations for our political ideologies. Air Grassroots says he polishes shit with his mouth. All right, let's not hide the ball. Wow. Ericoda at Counterfire. Godless needs to be a slur again. These atheist cringe lords need to be slapped. Or stopped, but I agree with slaps. ACAP says Dick Riders is a new one that I've heard in the last 3 years that is super descriptive and simping. It is like Dick Rider. When you call somebody like a Hassan Dick Rider, right? They're like somebody who will endlessly fucking simp for Hassan no matter what he does wrong. And I think it's okay, but it's not it just doesn't hit the same as the F slur or using gay derogatorily. Have an opinion and godless immediately discarded. True. I don't know. I view Rob pretty poorly with how he pretends to care about values and shit, but just be so anti-American. Eben, I understand, but you have to understand that from Rob's perspective, which I actually do, I get it, and I get it why, is he thinks that the military-industrial complex and the American global hegemony is something that the United States of America never voted on, and the American populace has never actually gotten consent from its rulers on. And so as a result, we are tax cattle. That's the way that our rulers and governors and representatives see us. We are tax cattle to be fattened, worked to death, and taxed. And two, we are slaves for the war machine. Whether we're developing technologies or implementing technologies or fighting wars or whatever, that is our role, is to expand the global commercial hegemony and to pay taxes. So when he sees that as the devaluing of the liberty and freedom that has been given to Americans, I understand it. I also just think that the United States of America really actually does provide a lot of freedom and opportunity and personal freedoms and the right to self-defense and limited government and all that kind of shit. I think that we actually really do it well. So when he's like, I know he says he doesn't want to burn the whole system down, but he advocates for people who do want to burn the whole system down. So when he advocates for that kind of shit, I think he's off, and I think he'll hurt the country. Legitimately, the same way that he views me as basically apologizing for a system that has already gone too far. Ericoda says, I kind of far, you believe in God and a stoic Marcus Aurelius God, kind of based, logos lover? Yeah, exactly. Literally. Like a pre-Abrahamic or Abrahamic monotheist or deist. I think deist is the one where you don't think it's a personal God. So I lean more on the deist side, but you know, I wish there was a personal God who cares for me. Truth is, I've been very lucky, very fortunate. I have many of God's blessings in my life, but I don't know if that's because I follow as best I can the ordered nature of the universe, or if it's because there's actually like a personal power that knows my name, that cares about my existence. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I believe in God. I just don't know if it's personal. Palpatine accomplished the most. Yeah, except for he set up the situation of his own downfall. What he lived for, like 20 years, or what he ruled for, like 20 years, 30 years. The Mongolian Empire lasted longer than Emperor Palpatine's rule, and he is an immortal demigod that shoots lightning out of his extremities. You have to understand how fucking limited that is. He ruled for less time than the Mongolian Empire, and he is a demigod who shoots lightning out of his fingertips. That's terrible. He's a bad Sith. He's not even the best Sith. Might be the most interesting Sith, but he's not even the best one. Pondering Politics says, what was the too long didn't read of the debate? Thank you for the donation again. We're getting close to my Palpatine simping. Obviously, we're off by a few zeros, but we're getting closer to my Palpatine simping amount. The too long didn't read of the debate was basically, again, I might have seen this earlier and answered it earlier, but thank you for the donation, friend. I do appreciate it. The basically defining republicanism, defining conservatism. We only stayed on that for a second. Gibbs called everybody not a conservative and not a Republican because they weren't supporting Trump. I was personally indicted for working with PV and trying to get Biden elected. I did defend myself against that. Ultimately, I did accuse Rob of being a cuckold who was watching the door for Admiral Gibbs, who was giving a blowjob to President Trump. And then we repeated that meme multiple times. And then we started talking about the ways in which I viewed Trump as incompetent and undeserving of the office, and how the people who undermined his authority were actually pretty correct to undermine his authority. And then they said that that was a betrayal of the Republic, and I said that that was necessary to maintain the Republic. RC says, counterpoints, Darth Sion is basically Nurgle and Korn combined. That sounds metal as fuck. That sounds good. Expand on that. Armed Slave Slayer says, Connor, mad about these guys' ethics sweeping, but can't accept the arguments for Wu, and her ethics is shown with evidence. Literally, Armed Slave he just exists to troll and fuck with me. With Wu may have exaggerated her credentials while she was running for Congress and Gamergate and all that bullshit, but she actually is a lefty fundraiser who has raised substantive amounts of money for lefty politics. And she is so disgusted with the far left and the progressive left that she wants to return our state or the country to a more normal, healthy, happy, communicative, political dialogue and realm. So no, I am not going to spend my time and energy shitting on Brianna Wu. I will not be mean to my co-host. I will not, basically be like, oh, you lied in 2014 and you exaggerated something in 2019. You're an evil piece of shit and I hate you. That's not going to happen. So if you're looking for that to happen, it's going to take a lot more than what she's already done to get me to throw her under the bus. Jonah Boy, I haven't, but I know. Thrawn, boom. Competent imperial officer, diplomatic, knows how to run a military, knows how to manage his troops, acting in a motivation that actually seems to be serving a greater good than himself. Thrawn is a good character. Thank you. Pondering Politics is at Eben. Who else was on Connor's side? It was Jebtan and Tiberius D. But to be honest, I think I told Tiberius D that I was going to come and chill, and then I just went fucking nuclear almost immediately. So my bad. We should go to Stone Age politics. Bud123 says, I'm a regressive. We should go back to Stone Age politics. True. Because if I was in a room with these people, I would pick up a fucking rock and I would just hit them. and then I would be either second place or last man standing, and then either the first place person or me gets to make the fucking decisions. Hell yeah, we should go back to Stone Age politics. This panel would have been fucking lit with Stone Age politics. Are you shitting me? I'm pretty sure I could take Tiberius and Jebtan. I'm pretty sure I could take Leith. I'm pretty sure I could take Rob. And then Admiral Gibbs just looks like he has good old boy Texas retard strength. So I think it would be down to me. I think it would be down to Gibbs and me for who won the Stone Age politics debate panel. Grassroots Hegemon says, who was surprisingly based and only hated Jews half as much as the average Twitch streamer. Hey, listen, when you're comparing it to I don't know if you're talking about Brianna, but if she hates Jews half as much as the average Twitch streamer, then she's practically a Zionist. I know she's a Zionist. I'm just making a joke, and I'm getting tired, so my jokes are getting worse. Pottering said, what did Rob and Connor brawl about specifically? Unless Rob believes Trump is conservative, why would he fault Connor for not liking Trump? It was mostly because I was simping for the establishment. The federal government and the deep state and all that kind of stuff. I argued to the better parts of the deep state. So he thinks that it's evidence of such corruption that it has to be ripped out root and branch. And I disagree. I think the system as it presently exists can be salvaged. I think it just needs modification. I don't think it needs to be ripped out root and branch. Oh. Bud123 says, I thought Dylan is bi. I think Dylan is bi because Dylan was homosexual for a while, but then I think he found a gal that he was actually interested in, and then he dated her for a while. So I think bi or pan or whatever. But again, if I said gay and Dylan didn't like it, then I would use a different word. Arian A says, I Counterfire, you should review Destiny's debate with Mark Lamont Hill. I was really surprised Destiny got to debate Mark, as he was known for being fired from CNN for being pro-Palestine. Yeah, Mark Lamont Hill. Does he have an ascot? Mark Lamont Hill. No, I'm thinking of somebody else. Interesting. I'm happy Destiny's climbing, man. And it's not just because, I'm in his wake and we're still friendly or whatever. It is good to see, because we all knew, everybody in Twitch and YouTube poll basically knew that he kind of carried the space a little bit and that he was a good debater. You don't have to like him. You can hate him. You can think he's a fucking asshole. But you should not deny his talent. My wife is staring at me, so I do need to wrap this up. Let me scroll in and answer the questions and get out of here. She just rolled her eyes at me because she knows that's another 5 to 10 minutes. So, Arian A says, at Counterfire, you oh, sorry. Somebody said they're a fan now. I like that. Motion Forever says, you just got a new fan. Well, if you're talking to me, then thank you. Arian A says, at Counterfire, you should review. Yeah. Mark Lamont Hill. Okay. All right. So I'm going to scroll, and I'm basically only going to catch things that I catch with my eye, or if you did add counterpoints in the chat. I like the drill sergeant and full metal jacket approach. True. I don't care who wins the election. People are going to have a meltdown either way. True. That's Vlad the Kebabber, our favorite resident dissident. Why do I find your bitch ass at where? I don't know what that means, but okay. Eric Coda says, at Counterfire, Deist is like clockwork god that abandoned the universe after creation. I don't think he abandoned it. I think he's a part of it. Logos is a pre-Christian Greek concept that is similar to the Chinese Tao, impersonal before Christianity. Yes. Logos. He was one of the most powerful Force users. True. Yo, thanks for doing the thing. Jebtan, thank you for letting me be an asshole. I appreciate it. Our slave slayer. Too long didn't read. What is the definition of gay retard? True. I did ask Admiral Gibbs for that repeatedly. He did not answer. I saw him killing Yinglings. Yeah, he looked like he dumped 6 of them into a fucking giant bottle. Psycho. Bud123 says, no, Palpatine is the best and most politically savvy and cunning Sith. He destroyed the Jedi Order masterfully with a fake war he controlled both sides of. Yeah, so Bondrin, if you're still here, you should give Bud123 your money, because he seemed like he would be earnest in his simping for Palpatine. Grassroots says, I was talking about Richard Nixon Counterfire. Okay, cool. At Counterpoints, post panel chat. Yeah, I'm just answering chat before I wrap up, but I need to wrap up because the wife is staring at me. A master debater, even. Why is Kanye West? Says GG. Thank you. Christian Blair says, I Counterfire. Have a good night. See you next time. All right. Eric Oda says GG means gay and godless. All right, I need to wrap up. I appreciate all you beautiful people. We peaked out at 80. We're at 55 cross-platform right now. If you got money, become a YouTube member, become a Twitch sub, donate super chats during the debates or the live streams. We always appreciate it. You know, we obviously do want to pay our editor and make some money ourselves eventually. I appreciate you coming to hang out with me. I hope even if you took psychic damage from this debate that you did get something out of it. Even if it was just me calling Admiral Gibbs gay and a Trump simp and that was funny to you, or me asking him to define socialism and him literally being incapable of doing so, or me getting pissed off at Rob at the end and, you know, kind of shit talking him about mobilizing the National Guard. All of those things, I hope you enjoyed some of them and had a good night. I am going to go lie down because my neck hurts like a motherfucker. I am going to listen to a drama stream and I'm going to pass out. We will have Hammer and Bolter content tomorrow. We will have probably Aliens content or Predator content next week for the expanded universe sci-fi stuff. So be sure to check that out if you enjoy that stuff. I am working on the 3D printed skeleton for the basis of a ballistic gelatin torso, so I can shoot it with explosive bullets for my next Bolter video. And then after we're done with the explosive bullets for the Bolter video, then we'll move into chainsword and bolt pistol. Then we'll do a flamer. Then we'll move into some Halo weapons. So that's my game plan. I'll be making probably the Halo Magnum and the Halo Shotgun first, because those are the easiest and the Halo Magnum is the easiest. The Halo Shotgun is the most interesting. After that, we'll do DMR battle rifle, and assault rifle. And basically after that, I'm trying to apply for my FFL. I actually need to turn in the paperwork, and then I'm going to start selling those through a actual federal firearms license business. So if you did not give your money to me, but you are interested in science fiction weapons, then feel free to save your money so we can do it. Good Grief Griff says no Covenant weapons. We are going to do the Sangheili sword, but it will be made out of steel. Yes. Okay. Parasocial love. Have a beautiful night. Bye for now.